What's up, everybody? Welcome to January 2025. Happy New Year. Even if it doesn't feel like a new year, because it probably won't just yet. But welcome. We're in 2025 now. This is going to be your astrological monthly overview for the month of January 2025. I just can't believe I'm already in January 2025, right? But yeah, welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode. It's good to be doing another one of these episodes. I hope all of you guys have had a great holiday season. It's been very busy, at least for me. I'm sure in many other people's lives it's been very chaotic and a little bit too much, but we're done with that at this point. I'm actually kind of recording this in December, so kind of in the middle of a lot of retrogrades where I'm at this point, but I kind of have like no choice, but I really needed to get this video done. But also by this time I did record my 2025 astrological yearly forecast, which I just basically talked about the whole year and talked about all the important transits happening in 2025, because this is going to be a huge year, guys. So the video should be out by this video at least. I'll release that before I release this one, but yeah, so check that out. I didn't do the horoscopes. I just talked about the transits of 2025, but it was really fun to talk about, so go check that out. So yeah, and let's see. Yeah, so we have a lot to talk about actually for January 2025. We're still, like I said, we're still kind of in this retrograde energy. We're dealing with Mars retrograde still. At least point from, once we get into January, we get towards like the halfway point for Mars's retrograde. But we're basically getting off of the Mercury retrograde that was going on. Mars is stationed in Leo. It's going back into Cancer by this month in January. And yeah, we're kind of like stuck in this retrograde, energy, cycle, whatever you want to call it, for quite some time actually. So that's why I said like this year might not feel like a new year once we get to January. I would say like the new year will actually really kick off during Aries season in March, because that's when at least most of the retrograde energies are like about done at that time. There's a little stretch, I would say, because it's kind of like till like April and May when things really start to kick off. So that's kind of like, I would say, the new year when it actually begins. But there's a lot to talk about, so let's just kind of jump right in. If you're new here, my name is Cody. I'm an astrological whiz, if you want to call it. I'm an astrologer. I've been doing this for probably about, I don't know, what is it, like 5-6 years now? But I've been recording these videos for about a year now. It's been really fun to do these videos and talk about it and do the horoscopes. We will get to the horoscopes towards the end of the video, so I will mention all that if you want to just jump right in to see your horoscopes for January. Jump right in. But just I would recommend to at least hear the overview just so you kind of know what's going on. But I'll put timestamps in, for every sign and stuff like that. So I want to advertise my merch. I got the Aquarius merch rolling. I got Pluto and Aquarius right here. I got one of my first Aquarius shirts off the merch. It's looking pretty cool. I should be releasing the new Aquarius merch by this month. So let's see. So how do we get there? So if you want to follow me on any social, I mainly do my work on Instagram, kind of promote everything and stuff like that. So, check that out. Codifer, or just Codifer Version, stuff like that. If you want to go to the merch, go to this link, the first one. Click that, and then you click the first link right there. Excuse me. Codifersastrology.myspreadshop.com. Right now, this is like kind of my last sale for 2024. It's my Christmas sale, 25% off plus free shipping. Man, it's been fun, doing these and advertising it, and just having the website give this last like huge deal, a sale for 2024. It's been awesome. I have ordered a few things. Other people have ordered some stuff. It's been like kind of cool to like really just like advertise and just like show this off. But yeah, but I won't be getting another sale until January. So at least by the time this video is out, yeah, I'll probably have more sales in January and stuff like that. But It was like the first week of December is my last sale of the year of 2024. And then basically we're going into this long stretch. But here's some of the merch. I got new, well, at this point it won't be new, but Sagittarius and Cap merch will be on the website. I think the last time I ever showed the website, I had like Scorpio merch and Libra stuff. So it's been about a month. It's been quite a while since I've advertised this stuff. So a bunch of stuff, guys. If you are waiting for some more merch sales, just wait till January. If you missed the one in December, no worries. There's going to be plenty of sales plus new merch. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be releasing the new Aquarius merch by the January and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. I really hope it works out the way it's supposed to, because I've had so many like technical difficulties getting these two designs, Sagittarius and Capricorn merch, on here because of all the retrogrades and it's just been a little too much. So, but yeah. So I just kind of ended up putting this on here. So hopefully everything works out. So check that out if you want to check any of that stuff out. So yeah. Okay, so yeah. Code of Astrology or Code of Reverse and Instagram, follow me, whatever. I'll put all that stuff in the link in the description below. But we got to get started on the good stuff, because I know you guys are always enjoying the overviews, because I enjoy just as much as everybody else does. So you actually can find these water bottles and also some of the other stuff that I have next to me. We got backpacks, pillowcases, some cups, some hats, a bunch of stuff, hoodies, joggers, what else? A bunch of stuff, a bunch of cool stuff. And they're so comfortable. Like the hoodies are like the most comfortable things, and so are the joggers. Like, oh, you guys would love it. I swear, I'm not even kidding. Like it's the best thing. I've ordered like a few hoodies already and I'm just loving it so much. It's cool. Anyways, okay. So let's jump into the good stuff. January 2025. So like I mentioned, like we're kind of still in this Mars retrograde. This is really covering the whole month of January. Mainly it's covering the whole like first half of 2025 in a way. I wouldn't say first half, but at least the first like 3 or 4 months it's covered in Mars retrograde. So, and we're coming basically back to that opposition from Mars going opposite Pluto. So I mentioned this, I think, in either my December report or my November report, that we're going to be dealing with this opposition for quite some time, guys. So this is just the reviewing point. We're coming back to something that we were dealing with when Mars hit that opposition to Pluto the first time. So we might get like triggered by like some power struggles, or just people in power just maybe like poking the bear in a way, in a sense, or whatever. But Mars is in Leo at this point. So kind of just either stay in your guard, don't really fall for anything that really doesn't feel right. Even if people are still trying to pick up a fight and stuff like that. It's really hard to really just kind of, have that combativeness, or like the confrontational, or the drive or the ambition that Mars usually does when it's direct. When it's in retrograde, it's kind of forced back. It's like it's pulled back. It's not really like emphasizing on like this energy that's really what Mars likes to do. So it's like the energy's not there, but people might still be poking you for to start a fight or something like that. So just kind of be careful. Pluto is in Aquarius. This can represent, people, anybody can like really, start a fight with you or something in a way, but just kind of just watch yourself, be cautious, yes, we're going to deal with, this uncomfortability, with Mars going retrograde and even going back into the sign of Cancer, which is going to bring that extra layer of like just uncomfortability. It's not going to feel good, It's not going to feel good. Mars retrograde is probably one of the toughest transits that we all have to deal with. Every 2 years, basically, it happens. So it's not really rare, but once it happens, it's in there. Like, it's in the air, and it's just like, oh, man. But where we're at right now, yes, like I said, this is going to be something that's going to be triggered. So just be careful, be cautious of, what's going on around this time, even though we're still going to be dealing with this until like April and May. So like we have one more round of this stuff, guys. So we got to be careful. We got to take it easy and stuff like that. So The next really big thing is Mercury's coming out of its shadow at this point. So we're done with the Mercury retrograde that has been going on since what, the beginning of November or something. So all of November and December, and then like here we are in January finally, and we're done with that. So that's good. We like that, but we're still dealing with Mars retrograde. So it's not like we're done with all the retrograde stuff, because it's just like, no, we still have this Mars retrograde that's covering like most of like the first few months of 2025. So whatever's been going on with the Mercury retrograde, delays, communication, miscommunications, glitches with technology, my goodness, I've been dealing with so many, like I said, glitches and technology stuff. Like my phone service has been out like for most of the Mercury retrograde, and it's just been going off and on, and I'm like, I've been losing my mind during that stuff, but I've come to the terms that I'm like, it's got to be Mercury retrograde. Like Mars is also in retrograde too, so we have all these like planetary like interference energies and stuff like that with what's going on Earth and stuff like that in our personal lives. So it's just like, if you're mad about like technology not working, it's probably because of these retrogrades. So I'm just saying, so it's all good. It's all good. But at least Mercury's done with this retrograde. We can finally move on to new territory and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. The next big thing, this is what we have to really talk about. Venus going into the sign of Pisces. So we like Venus in Pisces. She is exalted in the sign of Pisces. She is like uplifted. Her energy is like, she's like a queen. I wouldn't say that, but it's kind of like, that's kind of the energy. She's a guest, but she's like a ruling guest where she enjoys. I don't know. Anyways, so a lot to talk about here. Venus in Pisces, as she's exalted, she really just brings this like unconditional love to like 0 to 100 like real quick and stuff like that. So Venus and Pisces, we'll want to like really blend our relationships and what we are valuing and who we are connecting to and just what we are enjoying. We're gonna just want to just like, soak up all the good feelings and stuff like that. But that's the positive side. It could also get ourselves into a little bit too much. That's the other Pisces kind of like you would say downside or whatever, but nothing bad. There's two sides of a coin of each sign. So, but another thing about Venus going into Pisces is what I kind of mentioned earlier this video, is she will eventually begin her retrograde cycle, which basically starts at the end of the month. So she'll enter her pre-shadow retrograde territory, if you want to say, or the degree. We'll get to that though. But yeah, Venus is going to be going retrograde in the sign of Pisces and in the sign of Aries, actually. So she's going to be kind of going back and forth from Aries to Pisces over the next couple months. So we'll kind of track this, transit. If you watch the 2025 yearly horoscope that I put out, I talked a lot about it. So it was really cool to like really talk about it and just like get that little little preview of what's going on. But yeah, we'll kind of get through this as we go through the month. But this is just an important time in the month of January and in Venus's transit through the sign of Pisces. So yes, Venus and Pisces, we're gonna have that enjoyable Venusian in Pisces and stuff like that, Venus and Pisces, and then she'll like come to Saturn, and then she'll have to sober up in a bit, but we'll get to that. So that'll be kind of like a downer in a way. So we'll get to that point though. Okay, so yeah, Venus and Pisces, I mean, the moon's right there too, so that'll feel kind of good, actually. The next big thing is the sun is making a sextile to Saturn. Just a little small, 60-degree sextile angle, a little gesture. The sun is in Capricorn. It's trying to just really focus on, building, a solid structure, trying to be mature and responsible and stuff like that. This is like the point that we're in winter season at this point, and the sun is like kind of slowly building up the energy, one day at a time and stuff like that. Having it sextile the ruler Saturn of Capricorn. Saturn rules Capricorn. This is kind of just like giving like a little like, you're connected with somebody in authority figures, or you're connecting with anybody in authority that actually kind of makes it a little easier to work with. Or if you're trying to like work on any goals or any long-term goals. This will kind of be like a little stepping, like a boost in a way, a stepping stone. What? I don't know. Leveling up, we'll just say. This will just be like a small little gesture to just kind of like help you improve any your work, excuse me, your work or whatever, or just improve any long-term goals that you're trying to plan for and stuff like that. So just a little thing. It's not really the biggest deal, but I mean, it's just like, you know, when Venus made a sextile to Saturn back in, when was it? I think it was in November. Yeah. I was just basically kind of like talking about like, you know, the two signs of Capricorn and Pisces are like Capricorn is all about like, you know, reality, making things kind of real and just building, you know, being restructured and responsible and stuff like that. And then Pisces is kind of just like the sign that just kind of blends everything all together and stuff like that. So yeah, I would kind of just say like, yeah, you're kind of making your dreams more of a reality, or you're trying to make, you know, whatever's going on in your reality, you're trying to focus on your aspirations that can really like boost this reality for you and stuff like that. So just a little stepping, like I said, like a leveling up and stuff like that. So not really the biggest deal, but good for working with authority figures at least. Okay. Now we get to the most important part of the month, I would say, maybe. Mars is going back into Cancer. I hate to say this, but yeah, he's not in Leo anymore, which I've enjoyed Mars in Leo. I'm just saying, like, even when Mars was in Cancer, like in September, October, November, stuff like that, like, it was not the best time. Like, I mean, Mars is going back into Cancer, so I mean, we have to deal with some old situations, or just situations that we've been dealing with since like October, literally. So it's literally from October, I think it was like October 4th or 5th, all the way to like December 6th is like the territory that Mars is going to be going back and forth over. So whatever we've been dealing with since Mars has been slowing down, we're going back over that stuff, you know, to, like I said, when it was going opposite Pluto, it's going back over something that might trigger a situation that really kind of like, you know, has you like on edge and like you're like feeling it's more defensive and stuff like that. But when Mars gets into Cancer, we are going to mainly feel more defensive and probably moody and just on guard, want everything. Mars is entering the sign of its fall again, so it's like weakened in a bit, as well as in its retrograde phase, which adds another layer of like not really being so ambitious, not really being so energized and stuff like that, or combative. So yeah, we're gonna be dealing with this until I think it's April when he leaves Cancer again, but he'll be direct at that point. So yeah, Mars is in Cancer at this point, guys. So for the rest of January, we're gonna be dealing with you know, old stuff, you know, situations that we've been dealing with over the past couple months. So yeah, it might not feel good, but we're gonna have to just do things that feel uncomfortable. And this could be a time to really like go back, you know, and like maybe try to step out of your comfort zone in a way. But even if it feels hard to like step out of your comfort zone, I think that might be the best, because that's what I've been saying since Mars has been in Cancer. Even when it went into like Cancer in September, October, and November and stuff like that, we probably had to deal with like a lot of stuff that we didn't want to do, and it was just uncomfortable and it just wasn't right and stuff like that. So here we are again, but this is the point where we are being pulled back into this energy that Mars does not like to be in. I don't know, I can go on and on about this, but yeah, we're back in this little stage of Mars going back into Cancer. And then Mercury's basically making a square to Neptune over here. So Mercury's in Sag, you know, it's still kind of thinking in this big picture, open-minded, optimistic kind of vibe and stuff like that. Mercury is still in its sign of detriment, so it's not really working as perfectly as it wants to work. It's been really forced to like, this is another layer. This has been forced to like do things or, you know, think about things that make it really challenging to really do. You know, it's really like forcing us to step out of our comfort zone, or step out of our little detailed mind and stuff like that. It's been forcing us to think big and think outside the box. Having Mercury squaring Neptune though, things are not going to be as clear as you think it's going to be. Neptune is all about, you know, illusions, deception, fantasies, dreams, and stuff like that. It's really dissolving a lot of things too. So maybe at this point, like, even if you are communicating something or somebody is communicating something to you, it might not feel good. And not really might not feel good. It might not make sense is what I'm trying to say. So just maybe focus on intuitive feelings or intuitive like instincts to really kind of help you understand like what's real and what's not real, or does this make sense? Because we might be going down a rabbit hole that really doesn't take us, that just, you know, gets us off track in a way. So you don't have to watch out for that. I wouldn't say it's the biggest deal, but I mean, it's just like, it's gonna be confusing. Your mind's not gonna be really understanding this process because there's going to be some like obstacles and fogginess when that comes with this transit. So it's all good though. After that, Mercury goes into the sign of Capricorn. So Mercury gets, you know, out of Sagittarius, out of its detriment sign. It goes into a Saturnian sign of Capricorn. It gets more, you know, realistic in the way it thinks. It wants to be more mature. It can be a little bit melancholic at times. It could be very cold, rigid, you know, just kind of just like to the point. It's kind of like expressing like its thoughts and communication like by the book. Like it's like, this is how it is and this is how it's going to be and stuff like that. Like it's very just like, yeah. So, but Mercury and Capricorn, this will be good for like just, you know, planning stuff, any long-term goals and stuff like that. But yeah, Mercury and Capricorn will be in here for like maybe a couple weeks, and then it'll go into a sign of Aquarius because Mercury is speeding up at this point. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more if I think about anything else. But Mercury and Capricorn around the 8th of January. Okay, we have something big to talk about. The North Node and South Node are switching signs. So I've maybe talked about this a few times, of the North Node and Aries and South Node and Libra finishing off this 18-month or year and a half year transit that it's been in. So this is like the winds are changing. Our North Star is shifting into a new sign. Having the North Node enter the sign of Pisces, it's basically going over Neptune and then eventually going over Saturn. But yeah, this is a huge deal. Like, I mean, not only like is the North Node going into a new sign, it's passing over like 2 outer planets, which is bringing another layer of like just emphasizing this North Node and stuff in Pisces. What I was saying in the 2025 yearly forecast and stuff like that, I was kind of just saying like, you know, let go and let God, basically. And that's basically just kind of just saying like, we are going into like we're gonna have to like let all the small details, the mundane stuff, the physical, whatever it is, like the Virgo point, that's gonna be the South Node. It's gonna feel draining to do all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, we might have to, but we have to like balance all that stuff out. Anyways, a lot to talk about. We're gonna have to like let go of all this stuff and purge all the little details and like all that stuff and go towards like this spiritual outer world, like beyond the 3D level and stuff like that. That is gonna be our like highest expression as the North Node and South Node travel through Pisces and Virgo. So these are going to be the 2 signs that we are going to be having the eclipses in. So, and at this point, as we kind of pass through January, we'll probably start to feel little glimpses of what the next eclipse season or anything that has to do with this eclipse will be starting at this point. The energy will be heating up, I should say. I know, I'm all over the place. There's so much to talk about in January. Like it's just not just one thing. It's like boom, 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 boom. There's a lot, guys. There's a lot. So yeah, let go, let God, let the universe kind of do its thing. This is going to be in a way like we're kind of be going into like a spiritual awakening as the North Node passes through the sign of Pisces over the next year and a half. I believe it is from January 2025 all the way to like, I think around July of 2026, where these nodes are going to be in the two signs of Pisces and Virgo. So we have a very, very long new storyline that's kicking off at this point. So very, very important time. We'll get to, yeah, okay. And if you want to know about, you know, the horoscopes and stuff and where this is hitting, stay till the end of the video and we will talk more about that. Because that'll be very important for every sign. Anyways, let's see. Lots to talk about, guys. There's just so much going on in January. The sun, and then it's just like the sun's making a trine to Uranus. It's like, is that really a big deal? Maybe not. Not as big as the North Node and South Node switching. But we'll talk about it anyways. The sun is trining Uranus. So at this point, Uranus is basically stationing direct. So whenever the sun, like I've mentioned, trines an outer planet, that means it's either going retrograde or direct. In this point, Uranus is stopping and it's going to be stationing direct towards the end of the month. It stations direct on the 30th. So, so the sun in Capricorn trining Uranus in Taurus. They're both in earth signs, so this is really focused on the material world, the realistic kind of, you know, vibe and stuff like that. What's tangible, what's like real and stuff like that. This is just gonna really like Taurus and Capricorn, I would say, are very like structured like signs. They're really like good when it comes to like dealing with financial stuff, just building for the long term. It's a very solid like energy in a way. So yeah, like whatever, like the sun is in Capricorn at this point, yeah, you're trying to be ambitious, you're trying to focus on long-term goals. Having trine to Uranus is giving us a little like a boost of like, ooh, let's try something new that can really shoot us into the way that shoot us into like good goals and whatever. It's like shaking up or something. Oh my God, I can't even speak sometimes. This is gonna just shake us into doing something that will, you know, create better routines, better structures that can really help us boost our long-term goals and stuff like that. So that's kind of what that is. And we are kind of building up to the full moon in Cancer. And this is another thing to talk about. So the full moon in Cancer. Let's actually get to, I guess, it doesn't matter, actually. We're at the full moon in Cancer. Okay, full moon in Cancer. So as you can see here, full moon, you know, illuminating. This is the peak point of the month. You know, energy is already high. It's illuminating. It's like showing what's been hidden and stuff like that. But look what it's next to. It's next to Mars. So that means one thing, this is the halfway point for the Mars, you know, retrograde cycle at least. But what I was kind of like thinking, I think it was like yesterday or last night or whatever, I was like kind of reviewing this. And I was just saying like yes, it's the full moon, it's illuminating, it's coming to the terms of like something is coming into light. Having it in Cancer, yes, it's about, you know, nurturing, protection. The moon loves to be in Cancer, it's its home sign. So yeah, but then like you're putting a layer of on top of Mars on top of this. So this is like gonna feel a little extra emotional. This might feel a little bit to the extreme, you could say. I would say kind of just be careful because you might have like people lashing out, like unintentionally and emotionally, just like bursting out of something. So like kind of just watch out. But like, I mean, this is gonna happen anyways. I mean, every time we have a full moon or like we get to the halfway point for Mars's retrograde, the moon's always right next to Mars. So like I said, it's in Cancer. Mars is not really comfortable. It's kind of at around the maximum degree of fall at this point. So that's like a little like, a little too much right there. So even though the moon is kind of like on top of Mars, it's trying to like, you know, show all this stuff out. But yeah, it could be a little bit too much. So just kind of be careful when we get to the full moon in Cancer in January. So, but at least from this point, we're getting like, we're past the halfway point, or we're about to, you know, once the sun actually goes past Mars, like hits that opposition completely. But yeah, from this point on, we will be ending the Mars retrograde cycle. There will be about maybe a month and a half left to deal with. So yeah, it might not feel very comfortable, but we have to get through it though, you know? None of this is easy. None of this is easy. And I've been saying this, I think, since October. I said we are going to be in this long stretch from like October of 2024 to May of 2025, guys. and we're still in this. We are not out of the woods yet. Okay, so the next big thing, Mars is coming into a trine with Neptune. So, I mean, maybe this could help out, you know, even if it's like feeling uncomfortable and stuff like that. Like Mars coming back to this trine connecting with Neptune is really kind of just focusing. I think what I said the first time was really focusing on like your intuitive just vibes and stuff like that. Like even if you can't really like see what's beyond, what direction you are going into, we're gonna have to like really internalize this energy to really like focus on where we need to be putting our energy and stuff like that. And that could be focusing on our old dreams, or maybe like a dream that we kind of were, you know, that we thought about the first time when Mars made this trine to Neptune. And now we're coming back to it, and maybe like, oh, maybe I should actually, you know, focus on this like dream, and that could actually bring more protection and like more like just unconditional vibes and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. That's kind of what I would say. Just going back over like an old situation. I mean, even if you have to like just like have like some type of like fantasy or dreams or something that it's focused on, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of like going back over an old like little dream that you kind of want to maybe chase after or like think about. Then we get Venus squaring Jupiter. So this is an interesting kind of transit here. So Venus is in Pisces. She's having a good time. I mean, she's getting closer and closer to Saturn at this point, so maybe the Saturnian soberness is starting to kick in at this point. But Venus in Pisces, it's like very loosey-goosey. It's kind of trying to have a good time, just, you know, let loose and just, you know, blend into just anything, just to feel good and stuff like that. Squaring Jupiter in Gemini. Yes, Jupiter's already still in retrograde at this point. It's about to station direct. I think it's at its direct... yeah, I think it's stationing at 11 very soon. But anyways, so Venus squaring Jupiter. I mean, one thing, what I usually say about Venus in challenging aspects to Jupiter is we might overdo it. We might overindulge into certain things. Venus is in Pisces, so this is like overindulging into all like this, just sweets, like beverages or just substances and stuff like that. Like, all of that stuff. We're going to want to do that because that's Venus and Pisces. We're going to just want to have a good time and stuff like that. But then it's like squaring Jupiter and Gemini. And like Jupiter and Gemini is like, well, but, you know, we got to worry about like these little details and like, what if this happens? And it's just like, it could be a little chaotic. So it's like, even if we want to lean towards the Venus and Pisces and want to let loose, we're going to have to understand like there's consequences to any of this stuff. And on top of that, I mean, Venus is coming closer to Saturn too, so it's like the consequences will catch up to us once Venus comes up to Saturn. So that's kind of what I would say about that. So just kind of be careful. Like, you know, there's going to be something happen if you go overboard. But yeah, that's kind of what I would say. That's a little, it's kind of funny in a way, but it's like kind of not funny in a way. So yeah. Let's see. So the sun is making a sextile to Neptune. Just little thing that can really just like help. Wait a minute. One sec. What is it right here? It's like the 15th, 16th. That's when the sun goes opposite Mars. So that's like the halfway point around this time. So like the middle of the month, I would say. That's kind of like when we get that peak moment of Mars going like the halfway point of that. But basically coming back to that Mars, the sun going in, sextiling Neptune, and without that, having Mars right there too in the mix. The sun connecting with Neptune is just really connecting to more like intuitive vibes and dreams and stuff like that. Just kind of just like it's kind of just like the sun sextiling Saturn. It's just, you know, connecting the Capricorn and Pisces energies together, making something and mixing it up, you know, and it's just like, it's with Neptune. This could be about dreams, fantasies, illusions, deception, and stuff like that, but it's actually kind of helping your long-term energy and your goals and stuff like that. But yeah, the Mars opposition to the sun, that's going to be, I didn't write this down on my thing, but we kind of talked about it, but it's around the 16th, I would say 15th, 16th, maybe 17th. So yeah, that could be a peak moment. Like this is an opposition, and it's with the sun and it's with Mars. So there's like some butting heads, there's like some chaoticness in a way, maybe some confrontations, like maybe the energy for Mars in Cancer retrograde, it's like it's more weakened, it's not really ambitious, it doesn't have too much energy. The sun over there in Capricorn maybe kind of might help the Mars in Cancer in a way, but like I said, it's an opposition. So there's going to be some tensions rolling in a way, but hopefully when we deal with this kind of energy, it doesn't really like get us overboard or get us worked up. Like Cancer and Capricorn are like really kind of like holding the structured of life, and Cancer's like, well, that's Capricorn, and then Cancer's all about like, you know, keeping the home life protected in a way. So it's, I don't know, just kind of think about how you can protect, I guess, your work home life balance in a way. I don't know, that's kind of just what I wanted to throw in there. Let's move on. Venus is coming into that conjunction with Saturn at this point, so this is when we have to sober up from this Venus in Pisces. So like these are the consequences that we are dealing with as soon as Venus comes closer to Saturn. So Venus Saturn aspects are all about getting serious, getting like more real about your relationships and your long-term goals. Like I said, this is a very sobering time. Even if you are trying to connect with, you know, certain people or trying to build solid structures or relationships, it is in Pisces, so I feel like it could, like, you're gonna have to like create boundaries in a way, even if things don't feel right for certain relationships. That's kind of like the thing that I would really say about, like, you would have to get sober in a way when like, or sober or real or just more serious when it comes to like dealing with relationships. That's kind of some Venus Saturn aspects and energy, which could be good, it could be healthy, but you know, like, because Saturn's trying to like show Venus like we can't like have all of this, you know, all of this stuff. I mean, Saturn in Pisces basically has been really kind of like, you know, grounding or like putting blocks or walls in this Piscean world. Like, it's very boundless and stuff like that. So that's kind of just been the vibe for Saturn and Pisces in a way. Like, it's trying to create walls just so we don't get like lost in the sauce and stuff like that of this boundless world. Even though it's probably felt a little melancholic in a way, but that's just kind of the vibe. But yeah, Venus conjunct Saturn, sobering up, consequences, you know, getting serious. That's about it. And then we have Mercury coming into like a little sextile kind of like with these guys. So it's like communication is kind of blending into this, maybe helping out any relationships or any like long-term goals that you're trying to build with these people, or just what you value and like long-term relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, this could be like a conversation, like a serious conversation that actually ends up helping out this, you could say, these consequences or whatever, or sobering up. So yeah, that's kind of cool. And then we get to Aquarius season. So the sun is entering Aquarius. It's on the 19th, January 19th. So I mean, basically right there. Okay, so yeah, Aquarius season is here. This is basically the middle part of winter. The light will start to increase slowly, a little bit more than it was in Capricorn season. So that's kind of like the vibe of like going from Capricorn season to Aquarius season, is just like we are getting past the wall. We are getting beyond the wall of like what Capricorn rules and stuff like that. So but Aquarius season is like getting that 10,000 feet, you know, view of everything. It's in the air. It's like, okay, we see everything at this point. We are at this like high point and stuff like that. That's kind of interesting. I've always seen people talk about that, and I like that, at least. But yeah, Aquarius though, the sun is entering its sign of detriment at this point. So the energy is going to be a little weakened somewhat. So just, I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, but we have a lot of you know, planets in their sign of detriment. The sun's in the sign of Aquarius, which is in its sign of detriment. Jupiter's in the sign of its detriment in Gemini, and then Mars is at its sign of detriment, or you can say it's fall. So in a way, there's a lot of planets, what is the word? Whatever. In the sign of their detriment or whatever. So yeah, but focusing on groups of people, society, stuff like that. The sun's going over Pluto at this point, so that is just really putting like the spotlight on like the darker sides of us, our psyche. We're blending our ego with the secretive, psyche, and mixing it all together and stuff like that. So it can feel empowering in a way when the sun goes into over Pluto. Excuse me. Or we could lean towards the fear and be like, oh, I'm fearing all of this stuff because of this and that. So it's just like, it's whatever. But yeah, that's not the biggest deal. Let's see, let's move on. Okay, so we are getting towards the Mercury opposite Mars transit. So this transit could be a little annoying, I would say, but it's kind of like following up the sun going opposite Mars, but it's Mercury. So this is like Mercury in the sign of Capricorn being cold in the way it communicates. It's just to the T. It's just like it's going straight to the jugular and stuff like that. In the way of expressing ideas and stuff like that. Going opposite Mars, yeah, this might create a little bit of like battles and stuff like that. Like something like this is like poking the bear in a way. So because it's like Mercury's expressing a very cold, rigid type of vibe and stuff like that. And it's just like Mars is like, why do you have to, point out my flaws? Like you're pointing out my weaknesses and stuff like that. And that's really triggering me and stuff like that. That's kind of one layer of like looking at that transit. But hopefully, like I said, hopefully this kind of like, we can try to find some balance and work something out, even if things are triggering us and, people are pointing out like certain flaws that we don't want to really take care of or focus on. So, yeah, that's kind of what I would say about that. So just kind of be careful in who you are, communicating with and stuff like that. So yeah. But one good thing about this is Uranus is in the mix of it. So Mercury's trining Uranus, and then Mars is coming into a sextile with Uranus. So I would say even if this tension, this opposition is really annoying, Uranus is in the mix trying to at least, help out this like tension, this opposition. It's like Uranus is trying to be like, if you guys are, creating a lot of chaos or something, let's just, let me just shake things up and maybe try to break out of this this tension that we are dealing with or something like that. So Uranus's energy is really about breaking out of like old routines. It's breaking beyond the wall of like the Saturnian wall the reality that we see. Yeah, so I mean, this could really help us if we are trying to like really break out of, this tension, even if we are getting triggered by certain things. So use the Uranus this energy to help out this opposition that's going on right now. Because, I mean, it could feel tough. Like Mercury opposite Mars, like this is almost kind of like a boss basically trying to fire somebody, and it's like they really don't care. They're just like straight to they're just straight to the jugular and saying whatever, like you're fired and stuff like that. And then Mars is like, what? Like, come on, like I don't know. That's something else that I could say about that. Let's see. So yeah, and then like Mars is going sextiling Uranus. So I mean, try something new. If something is triggering you, why don't you try a different pattern or routine? Try something else that can really help you navigate or really like let out some steam if you have any tensions or whatever. And then Mercury's going into a sextile with Neptune. So I mean, yeah, connecting with your dreams and stuff like that. Yeah, like connecting with your dreams, just like focusing on little things. It's not really the biggest deal in the world, I would say. Let's see. And then Venus will sextile Uranus. That's kind of cool. That's like trying something new when it comes to relationships. Like maybe stepping outside of your comfort zone into maybe, I don't know, maybe mingling a little bit differently than you usually do. That's kind of like it. I mean, let's see. So, yeah, I mean, Uranus is in Venus's home sign of Taurus, and Venus is operating very good because she's in Pisces. So this could really really blend things a little bit and make things a bit comfortable, even if we are trying to like connect with people or relationships or finding things that really are pleasurable or enjoyable when it comes to our values and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. I like that little transit. Take advantage of that. And then she ends up coming into a trine with Mars, kind of at the same point. It's kind of like, I think around the same time. So like Venus is connecting with Uranus, and it's also making a trine to Mars. So I feel like this could add another layer to this like uncomfortability that Mars is dealing with in a way. Venus is in Pisces, Mars is over here in Cancer. So they're both in water signs. This is really focusing on the internal emotional side of ourselves. These are the cosmic lovers, you know, they're connecting in a trine, which is really nice. I think when Venus was in Scorpio trining Mars, that was kind of an interesting transit. You know, that was a really like, they were both in like uncomfortable signs and stuff like that, but they were trining each other, making things feel a little better. So kind of think about it like that. But in this point, Venus is, oh, whoops, that's awkward. Venus is in a sign of her exalted sign. So that could really add that more comfortable feeling in a way than like maybe the last time she trined Mars when she was in Scorpio. So yeah, but this could also like just be like just connecting with somebody who makes it feel a little bit better, even if you are feeling a little crabby or moody or just like very emotional or just unstable. I feel like connecting with this Venus and Uranus can really help either shake you out of your comfort zone or just really try to make you feel a little better in a way. And then we get to Mercury going into, what is it? It's the 27th. Okay. Well, first let's talk about, actually, hold up. Okay, so Mercury's going into the sign of Aquarius. So that shifts the whole vibe of our communication and stuff like that. Mercury is going beyond the wall of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius. Mercury likes to be in the sign of Aquarius. In some sense, I would say it's exalted, even though maybe some people would say, oh no, but Mercury's exalted in Virgo, which is true. But Mercury does really well in the air signs, and especially in the sign of Aquarius, I would say. So it goes over Pluto. There's like a deep psychological, subconscious, like, messages or something to do with like really powerful messages at this point. Either you're empowering the way you were expressing your ideas or just thoughts or whatever. This could also lean towards manipulation and like fear-based stuff as well. But Mercury in the sign of Aquarius can really have us think more uniquely, think outside the box and stuff like that. It's like what I've heard, Mercury in Aquarius is kind of like mental gymnastics in a way, because it can really emphasize a lot of like thoughts and ideas and just like be like, whoa, like that's actually an interesting idea and stuff like that. Like what I've experienced for people that have that placement, but I like it. I like Mercury in Aquarius. I think it's a really good placement overall. But the important thing is after that is Venus is entering her shadow. So this is when the Venus retrograde cycle begins, because she will come back to this point around 23 or 24 degrees of Pisces, I think in like April or something like that. So she'll start to slow down at this point. She'll enter Aries in like what? I think it's like February or something like that. She'll slow down a little bit, and then she'll station retrograde in Aries, I think around 8 or 9 degrees or something like that. And then that'll be, I think it's like March, like the end of February, beginning of March, she stations retrograde, and then she starts to go back all the way. So I believe it's in April where she'll come back to this point. So think about whatever's going on at this point, we're going to come back to it when it comes to Venusian things, relationships, the way we express love, pleasures, enjoyable stuff. Like attraction and stuff like that. So pay attention to that. Let's see. And then, like I said, the Mercury, I already talked about Mercury conjuncting Pluto. And then we get to the new moon in Aquarius. So two things I want to talk about this. Yes, the new moon is, it's refreshing the energies. The sun and moon are coming together, creating this new moon. New intentions are going to be arising when it comes to Aquarius themes like society, groups of people, networking and stuff like that. So very interesting. But well, I wouldn't say but it's just like another thing that we could talk about. This is when the new Chinese New Year starts, actually, and this is going to be the Year of the Snake. And I wanted to mention that because I will be releasing Year of the Snake merch on my website. So that's another merch that I've been working on that will be also released, as well as the Aquarius merch. So I have a couple new announcements for the, my merch. The next two releases I will be releasing in January is the Aquarius merch and the Year of the Snake merch. So go check that out once it's out. It should be out by the time the video is out or a little after. But yeah, so yeah, Chinese New Year starts. Maybe this will be another sort of not really feeling like a new year in a way. But yeah, but we're basically at the end of the month, so yeah. This is when Uranus stations direct. So we're done with Uranus stationing direct, which is good. It's just adding another planet that's moving forward at this point, so we like that. We need all the... Sometimes it's good when all the planets are moving forward. I know we're still dealing with Jupiter retrograde, but it's about to stop at this point, and then Mars, we're dealing with all that stuff. So that's kind of how we end the month. The sun actually trines Jupiter, which basically is emphasizing like, hey, Jupiter's about to station direct. Whenever the sun trines an outer planet, yeah, that's why I've mentioned. So, and then basically on the last day, Venus is coming onto Neptune. So she's going to be coming back onto Neptune, going back and forth of her retrograde cycle. But like at this point, this is kind of like emphasizing like the whole Venusian like indulging or just like blending into something that's just very fantasy-like, or your dreams and stuff like that, or maybe blending into like some crowd that just, I don't know, takes your, I guess, mind away from just the mundane, like the reality and stuff like that. So this could be good. This could also be negative in a way, because like we're gonna come back to this point. So this is like this. I would say this is kind of like a too good to be true type of vibe. So it could be nice. This could really emphasize the unconditional love between these two, because Neptune is kind of like a higher octave of Venus, so they really share similar vibes when it comes to like the unconditional type of energy. But yeah, I mean, they're both on the North Node too, which is in like on top of like this thing too. So I mean, like all of this stuff is gonna feel too good to be true. So but what I wanted is like, we have to be cautious though, because Venus is in shadow, so none of this is really gonna be happening the way that we think it will, because things are gonna be swapping and like just all over the place. The universe is like changing a lot of things at this point. So it's like, even if you feel like, oh, this person's the best thing for me, you're gonna come back and be like, oh, maybe they weren't actually. Excuse me. So that's the month of January, guys. Like it's an interesting month. But I feel like once we get past January, things will slowly start to kind of feel better. We just have to get past this Venus retrograde. We have to get past the Mars retrograde. And like once we get to like May, that's when all of this stuff is like done. So we still have a couple more months to deal with this stuff, guys. So we got to take it easy though. We got to take it easy. We have to actually, I don't know why I'm moving all this. Okay, so we're going to get into the horoscopes. I'm doing good on timing, which I always love, because I thought this is a lot to talk about actually, but so yeah, that's January. I hope most of us will have an interesting month at least. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. That really just kind of helps me out, helps more people see this video. I couldn't believe my November report got like over 150 views. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, guys. Like, thank you. Like, I just want to thank all of you guys for checking that month out, because November was a very important month. Like, it really has it will have consequences until like of whatever was going on in November will have consequences all the way up to like the spring of 2026. And it's just like, it's insane how like I got all those views and stuff like that. Even for December, I got like a decent amount of views, but like it was just crazy like how like I got that many views and stuff like that. So I'm like, wow, that's insane. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for all of that stuff. I want to just thank all of you for following me and keeping this this little community that I've kind of built on YouTube and Patreon and stuff like that. Like, it's a blast, you know what I mean? You can listen to this on Spotify as well, and I know I probably should have mentioned that in the beginning, but you know, there's like so many platforms that you can get this, you know, on, you know, and if you follow me on Patreon, you're gonna get this a little earlier before I post it on Spotify and YouTube. So that's like the good thing, you know, you're getting this exclusive video and stuff like that. So I'll probably be posting this as well as the 2025 one. They both should be out by this time, but probably, you know, before this month actually starts. So if you want to check these videos out a little earlier, I would recommend that. Okay, so let's get through the horoscopes now. All right, so Aries rising. Okay, so for Aries, your ruler is in this opposition with Pluto. Your ruler Mars is in your 5th house. It's going back into your 4th house in a way. So I mean, you're kind of maybe not feeling the emphasized energy as much as you have been normally feeling since Mars has been direct. But you're going to be dealing with some conflicts and stuff like that. You're maybe going back over certain situations that really triggered this stuff, but we're still in this for a while. Another thing is Mercury's getting out of its shadow at this point. So whatever has been going on with 9th house themes, like traveling far or learning like educational stuff, like higher educational stuff, dealing with any legal matters and stuff like that, and that is being finalized. You are moving past all that stuff. Yeah, so something to do with like I mentioned, like academic stuff, legal matters, bunch of stuff like that. So like even if you're like you've been trying to travel and it's been delayed at this point, maybe at this point it might be a little bit better to actually travel before Mercury gets out of your 9th house. So something to really think about. The next big thing is Venus is going into your 12th house. So it's nice when Venus goes into Pisces. Venus going into your 12th house, though, I mean, I feel like that would be kind of low-key keeping your relationships a little on the down low or secretive in a way. I would say maybe just kind of watch out for like, you know, relationships that, you know, kind of feel like too good to be true, basically, especially when Venus goes, you know, gets closer to Neptune and stuff like that. So, but you're gonna, I would say like it's a very low-key energy and stuff like that. You want to not be so seen with maybe relationships, or you want to be a little bit more secretive and, you know, your private areas, space and stuff like that when it comes to like what you are valuing or pleasuring yourself. It doesn't even have to be like with a relationship. This is just what's enjoyable for you. And 12th house, you could say getting into spirituality and astrology and stuff like that, like doing tarot. That could be enjoyable. That could be, you know, something to just kind of blend your Venusian energy into, you know, something, you know, something that feels good for the most part. Let's see. And then basically that's when Mars goes back into your 4th house of Cancer. So Mars going back into your 4th house, maybe there's going to be some, you know, some drama coming back up to the surface that you're probably dealing with. I mean, it's going to be tough no matter what. You know, this is Mars, your ruler, going into the sign of its fall of Cancer. So it's going to feel a little challenging again. Kind of think about when Mars was passing through this sign for you during September, October, and November. I mean, you might have had to deal with some uncomfortable stuff, but I mean, we're back at this point again. So we got to get past it, though. I mean, once we pass it, you'll feel a lot better once he's back into Leo. I think in like April or something. So just do what you can, Aries. It's like, it's going to be like this for everybody. Like, it's not just going to be for you just because it's ruled by, you know, like Aries and stuff like that. Or even for Scorpio too, the other Mars ruled sign. Like, it's going to feel comfortable. Like, it maybe for Scorpio, it's trining Scorpio. So, I mean, maybe it might be a little better. But for you, it's going to be maybe squaring your 1st house if you have any planets like in the last, the middle or the last decan of Cancer or Aries or whatever I should say. So, but we're going to have to get through it, guys. We'll be all right, though. Just take it easy. That's all I would say. Mercury goes into your 10th house, really focusing on, you know, getting out of a detriment for one point, actually. It's focusing on your public life, you know, your career. Maybe you are taking a more authoritarian role at this point, or you're just really kind of speaking more publicly, and it's really like creating like a very like just hardworking, cautious, rigid, cold, just, you know, very ambitious type of vibe when you are trying to like initiate in your career or public life. So I don't know, something like that. Think of all that stuff or whatever. Let's see. Okay, and then this is the big shift right here, guys. So Aries, the North Node is going into your 12th house. So the North Node has been going through your first house since what? The summer of 2023. So you have probably been like emphasized and raised up a level for the last 18 months or year and a half. So you've probably also dealt with a lot of draining relationships as the South Node was going through your 7th house of Libra, but now this is shifting. I would say the North Node going into your 12th house is a time to really kind of just focus on spiritual things, get a little bit more quiet and like private and stuff like that. Get into spirituality, get into astrology, or like whatever is like, whatever takes your subconscious psyche side to the next level, because that's what's really going. It's behind the scenes. Nobody knows what's going on, but there's something that's like telling you, hey, go in this direction. You'll thank me later, in a way. So the South Node going into your 6th house might feel a little bit draining when it comes to like your daily routines, your workspace, dealing with coworkers, services and stuff like that. But you're gonna have to like balance this out in a way. That way it is kind of even in a way. But that's where this is going over the next year and a half. So that should be a very interesting transit for you guys. Then we have the full moon happening in your 4th house. And this is just really emphasizing the Mars retrograde cycle. Like this is like really putting all of this emotional and like home-based stuff, bringing it up to the surface. So even if you have drama at this point, it's you can't avoid it at this point, honestly. That's kind of what I would say. But I feel like it'll really show you what is needed for you to release any of this uncomfortableness. So kind of look at it as that. Even if somebody is triggering you in a way, it's illuminating. It's something, it's coming to the fullest at this point. So it'll feel a little bit better somewhat once the moon passes over Mars and, you know, the energy starts to die down. But there's a lot of releasing at this point when it comes to like family, home life, property and stuff like that. Let's see. And then the sun goes into your 11th house. So the sun is switching from your 10th house to 11th house, focusing on more on like, you know, groups of people, gaining opportunities, receiving like huge financial gains of what you've been maybe dealing with if you've been working hard over the last month since the sun has been through your 10th house of Capricorn. You might see the fruits of your labor at this point. But yeah, connecting with people on top of like, you know, all this stuff will really kind of like shine the light and put the focus on, you know, all like networking, working with colleagues and stuff like that. Just gaining more opportunities and just helping your community in a way, which could be cool. Okay, let's see. And then we just kind of just get to, you know, the Mercury going into Aquarius and then Venus going into Shadow at this point. So that's kind of like how we end the month in a way. We also have the new moon in Aquarius, which will, you know, add another layer on that. So Mercury going into your 11th house, like it's kind of just following what the sun just did, you know. Even if you are like, you know, Mercury's all about, you know, exchanging stuff, exchanging ideas, maybe doing like dealings and like selling and stuff or whatever. I feel like you could really see the fruits of your labor if you like kind of know what you've been working towards. But yeah, communicating with friends, communicating with groups and stuff like that, putting this focus on this, you know, 11th house right here. The new moon is just refreshing all of this energy for this area of life for you. So that's cool. You know, Venus going into Shadow though, that's going to be the key point of this month in a way. Well, it's another key point. There's a lot of key points in this month. But yeah, Venus is going to come back to this point. So yes, she's going to enter your first house of Aries in February, and stay there for a little bit, you know, in March and stuff like that, and station retrograde, and then it's going to go back into your 12th house of Pisces. So The Venusian stuff, yes, it's gonna bring out a little bit of like beauty in your appearance when she gets into your first house. But right now, she's kind of on Neptune on the North Node, really emphasizing this too good to be true type of vibe, you know, when it comes to like this stuff. So like spirituality, you know, your mental health, things just feeling good. Maybe dealing with addictions. You never know. It could be that. Some endings, something to do with like dreams and stuff like that. Kind of pay attention to all that stuff. Because that'll be kind of refreshed and going back over what you don't want, what you do want, what is good for your mental health and what is good for your psyche and stuff like that. That's going to be like the whole Venus retrograde shifting from your 12th to 1st back to the 12th and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we end the month. And then Uranus stations direct. Uranus stations direct in your second house. So things to do with like your financial stuff, personal items, priorities, how you're supporting yourself is just gonna just emphasize like something that's like you'll know like how to change up your routines when it comes to that stuff. So that's kind of how we end the month for you, Aries. Okay, so for Taurus rising, let's see. So the first thing is just, I mean, like I mentioned, the Mars is going opposite Pluto. This is in your 4th house, going opposite Pluto in the 10th. So something to do with like your work, home life may be triggered in a way. You're coming back to some old situation that brought a lot of like power struggles and stuff like that. So just kind of watch out for that. Mars is going to go back into your 3rd house, which will kind of lighten the load, I would say, lighten the energy somewhat. But at least Mars is going to be in a good aspect to you, Taurus. But still, it's going to feel uncomfortable overall. So that's one thing that started off the month. Mercury is going out of its shadow. It's leaving its retrograde period in your 8th house. So anything to do with like, you know, intimacy, shared resources, psychological connections with the people, getting deeper into, you know, these relationship connections, something to do with like inheritance and stuff like that. That's kind of done. You know, you're done with all that situation and stuff like that. So, you know, you can move on from all that stuff, which is good. And then your ruler, Venus, enters Pisces by like the 3rd. So that's cool. Your ruler is actually working it's working properly. The way it's not like functioning bad. So she's entering a sign where she actually enjoys to, you know, so that you can at least feel a little better, you know, feel good, feel like you are operating in a good state of mind. She's entering your 11th house. This is an interesting transit, I would say, because I feel like, you know, Pisces is all about blending into anything, you know, it's focusing on friends, groups of people, communities, and stuff like that. So I feel like this could be a really, really good time to enjoy spending time with friends or just kind of connecting and having a little bit of fun and stuff like that, like indulging with friends or just, you know, working together. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel good. You're going to want to blend in together and, you know, just kind of just collaborate with people and just like, you know, gain more opportunities and stuff like that. And that's gonna feel good, you know. Like I said, you're ruled by Venus. So I mean, she's in a sign where she's doing very good. So yeah, enjoy it until she gets into like Saturn territory and then she's like, okay, we gotta sober up from all of this indulgence and stuff like that. So that's just kind of the vibe. But for the most part, it's good. It's looking really good. Mars is going back into the sign of your 3rd house, Cancer. So 3rd house, I mean, 3rd house is like many things. It has to focus on like your immediate environment, neighborhood, like siblings, relatives, like your social media, just socialing with people in general, communication, education, short trips and stuff like that. So maybe if you are taking like little short trips, you might have some delays coming in the way, interfering from these like plans or whatever. So kind of watch out for that. I would say, I think I mentioned the whole car thing, like when Mars went into your 3rd house, I think the first time, like pay attention to your how, like, your transportation or whatever, like what, even if it is a car or a bicycle, or like you're taking a bus or whatever, with that, it's transportation. That's the third house thing. So it's like whatever your commune is, you're gonna have to maybe deal with some delays or maybe uncomfortable things. Like even if you are dealing with a broken car or like car problems and stuff like that, there's probably reasons for that. So you can at least maybe get it managed, or maybe kind of wait it out before Mars, does its like retrograde and stuff like that. But you might have these problems coming up. So hopefully it's not too bad though, I would say. And then we're getting to Mercury going into your 9th house. So Mercury's entering Capricorn 9th house. That'll flow easier for you. It's an earth sign trining your Taurus house, so that's pretty cool. It gets a little bit more serious, more mature, more responsible in a way, but it's focusing on expanding its horizons, expanding the mind. It wants to learn, maybe some new information, some higher educational information. You might be wanting to travel at this point, long distance travel. You might have to deal with any legal matters and stuff like that. Any of that could like really pop up at this point for you Tauruses. And then this is the big thing. So the North Node is going into the sign of Pisces, and the South Node is going into sign of Virgo, which is fifth house for you and 11th house. So it's kind of focused on the North Node and entering your 11th house. So I mean, wow, I feel like that could be a really great transit, having the North Node go into your 11th house. Because this is just like really emphasizing where your North Star is heading you into. And then, 11th house, like I mentioned, groups of people, communities, opportunities, aspirations, good spirit in general, alliances, groups, like just bunch of stuff, your hopes and dreams and stuff like that. Like this transit for you, Tauruses, is gonna like really push you in the right direction. And even if, you have to deal with like some draining, South Node in Virgo, like 5th house things when it comes to like performing and stuff like that, like it's not going to work. You're going to have to like really collaborate with other people in order to reach your highest your highest goals, your highest perspective, your higher self in a way. That's going to be a really interesting transit for the next year and a half for you guys. And then we are getting to the full moon in Cancer. That is just emphasizing the whole Mars retrograde, like I mentioned. I even mentioned this for Aries and stuff like that. So this is just illuminating something to do with like your 3rd house themes, like siblings, transportation, socializing and stuff like that, communicating. You might be dealing with some uncomfortable emotional problems maybe, but it'll be a time for releasing it, eventually. So take it easy during the full moon in Cancer. And then the sun is going into your 10th house of Aquarius. So this is just really focusing on, your public life, maybe just doing something to, to really boost your reputation up a little bit. Just kind of just build a solid structure to do with like, Aquarius themes, groups of people and stuff like that. Really just having a unique way of like doing things. It's coming into a conjunction with Pluto, was just emphasizing either some power struggles or empowering yourself into being like seen in a different way. There's also fear-based matters when it comes to that too. So, but overall, just your public life is going to be focusing on, what you want to do, what your reputation is telling you, or shifting up your reputation or whatever. Let's see. Then we get to Mercury going into Aquarius. We have the new moon there as well. Mercury going into Aquarius, it's just really making you more of a public speaker in a way. Maybe sharing ideas in unique ways and stuff like that. Maybe taking on an authoritarian role will help you, communicate a little bit better. Something like that. Maybe learning a new skill in your public life or your career. You have a new moon here, refreshing the energies when it comes to that stuff. But the important thing is your ruler is entering its shadow at this point. So this is when the Venus retrograde cycle begins. And it's going to be going into your 12th house, going back into your 11th. So something to do with like spiritual stuff, your mental health, and then going back into your 11th house of like groups and stuff like that, just to improve what you want, what you are desiring a little bit. It's going to shake things up a bit. Maybe what you are desiring at this point might not be what you want to desire once we get to the end of Venus retrograde. So kind of think about that. And then Uranus is stationing direct in your first house. So just really shaking up your uniqueness of like your personality and how you present yourself. Basically that. All right, Geminis. Okay, Geminis, here we go. So Mars is going opposite Pluto, third house to ninth house. Maybe something to do with like the way you're communicating, or something to do with like transportation or siblings and stuff like that. Maybe might trigger something when it comes to like politics or maybe religious based stuff. Or just, I don't know, something to do with that. But yeah, Mars is going to be going opposite Pluto for a little bit longer. Get used to it. It's going to go back into the sign of your second house of Cancer eventually. So it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but we'll get through it. Mercury's stop is ending its post-Shadow retrograde at this point. So we're done with the Mercury retrograde in your 7th house. So even if you've had, delays or miscommunications when it comes to just connecting with one-on-one people, signing contracts or thinking about signing new contracts, or just agreements and commitments and stuff like that, supporting other people, open enemies, all of that stuff is done at this point. It's done shaking that little area for you at this point. So you're done with that, which will feel good because that's your ruler. Your ruler is in your opposite sign in detriment. So it's like it hasn't really been working that well in a way. So, but once it leaves Sagittarius, it might feel a little better for you, Geminis. So just kind of hang in there a little longer. And then Venus goes into your 10th house of Pisces. So Venus entering your Pisces is nice. It's going to be squaring your first house, which might not feel nice. But for the most part, I feel like it'll make your public life or your career like more enjoyable. You're going to want to at least like kind of just blend into, just have a very sweet reputation, like how people see you in your public life. You're going to want to just be more Venusian, like beauty and stuff like that. Like something to do with your reputation will be beautified in a way. And it might be nice though in a way. But like I said, it's scoring your first house. That's the only challenge. So it's all good though. You'll be all right. Let's see. And then Mars goes back into, I'm about to like jump past this anyways. I know I'm like, okay, so Mars is going back into your second house of Cancer. So things to do with like your personal security, your finances, your priorities, material goods and stuff like that, what you need in order to basically, have a solid life or solid security. Like you need a place to live, you need food, you need water, you need, this and that to like really hold your first house, your personal life. But because Mars is in retrograde in the sign of Cancer, in its sign of fall, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Maybe this is going to push you outside of your comfort zone to earn more security in a different way. So that's kind of what I would say about that. Even if it's going to feel very, very challenging and you're not going to want to, have the energy to do most of this stuff. This is just improving, or at least trying to improve this area of life for you in order for you to, work your butt off and, jump into the deep end with no floaty, or just like you have to just get in there and get what you need and then get out. Like that's kind of like the whole vibe of that. So Mercury is then going into your sign of, well, actually the 8th house of Capricorn. I wouldn't say your sign, but whatever. So yes, your ruler's in a better position now. Now you can at least operate a little bit better. It's going into Capricorn, which is a little uncomfortable. You can call this a quincunx or inconjunct kind of energy. But in the 8th house, it's just really kind of like deepening these connections that you have with any relationships, any contracts and stuff like that. You're going to be focusing on inheritance, you know, like shared resources, using shared resources in order to maybe pay off some debt, or just maybe collect any debts and stuff like that, loans, something to do with like sex or whatever, psychological stuff, chemistry, soul contracts, refinancing anything. I mean, any of that stuff. And this is going to be like the little transit that's happening. But yeah, intimacy is going to be a very, you know, prominent thing that you really want to like focus your mind on. But yeah, it's just getting a little bit more serious too. It's in the sign of Capricorn as well. So that's kind of what I would say. Okay, and then the nodes switch into your 10th house and 4th house. So for Geminis, yes, the North Node has been passing through your 11th house of like, you know, groups of people, friendships, opportunities, abundance, and stuff like that. Going into your 10th house, this is really going to shift your whole public life in a new way. Like, this is unbelievable for you, honestly, I would say. I feel like this is one of the best transits for you guys. I don't know. It's just like you have all this stuff in your 10th house right now. Like Neptune's in there. Saturn's been like really busting your butt to make your career life like a solid, you know, structure and stuff like that. Having Venus there is just trying to just make things enjoyable and stuff like that. It's coming into conjunction with Saturn, but like all of this stuff in your 10th house at this point is just like your public life is like being like shooken up and like changed in a huge way. And you're going to look back at this and in the next like year and a half, like the summer of 2026, you're going to be a different person at this point. Like, believe me. So yeah, but the South Node going into your 4th house might feel a little draining when it comes to like your home, your property, dealing with family and stuff like that. But you're going to have to like kind of balance out this work, home life type of vibe and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of like the whole storyline shifting for you Geminis. Then we get to the full moon in Cancer, which is just emphasizing and illuminating this Mars retrograde cycle. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this is going to feel uncomfortable, like what you have to do in order to earn the security that you need. Yeah, and then the moon is just going to be putting an extra layer. You know, it's going to feel emotional no matter what it is and stuff like that. So, yeah. But yeah, things will feel a little better when the energy will start to die down, sort of. But yeah, this is just the peak moment of the month. And then, where are we at? And then the sun will go into your 9th house of Aquarius. Wait, what? Okay. So the sun's going into the sign of Aquarius. That might be a little better. It's trining your 1st house, so the energy will flow a little easier for you. Focusing on the sun going into your 9th house is just focusing on like expanding your horizons, expanding more knowledge. Excuse me. Maybe you're going to be, you know, focusing on like teaching, publishing, just traveling in general, you know, learning different things. If you're dealing with any legal matters, this could be a good point to like really focus on like, you know, getting things done. I mean, Pluto's right there as well. It's really like empowering this placement for you when it comes to these topics and stuff like that. Even if you're trying to go to school or whatever, this could kind of help you in a way. So that is that. And then basically Mercury goes into the sign of Aquarius and we have a new moon here. So Mercury going into the sign of Aquarius will feel even a little better for you, Geminis. Mercury does really well in the sign of Aquarius. But yeah, putting the Mercury and the new moon in the sign in the 9th house for you guys is just really emphasizing this like bigger picture, this you know, outside kind of the vibe and stuff like that. I mean, it's in Aquarius, so like think about like Aquarius as like being outside beyond the wall, basically. What's beyond the wall and stuff like that. And you're really like shooting for the stars, or focusing on that stuff, which is kind of cool, actually. I like kind of like seeing like where the signs are and then putting it in the houses and just blending those two energies together, which is really interesting for me, to me at least. So yeah, new moon here, refreshing the energies. Maybe you are planning on going to do some traveling very soon or around this time. Be a great time to really just kind of just soak in and like refresh the energies in a way. Venus, though, is going into her pre-retrograde shadow period at this point in your 10th house. And it's going to be going back and forth from your 11th. It's going to enter Aries and then go back into Pisces eventually. So something to do with like your public life, your career, trying to earn like more opportunities or huge financial gains will be kind of like this, I guess, test for you, whatever. So that's kind of like how we end the month for you. And then Uranus stations direct in your 12th house. So something to do with like, you know, uniqueness, going outside the box, stuff to do with like spirituality, your mental health, what's keeping, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff, but that's not really the biggest deal in the world. So that's about it. Now we get to Cancers. Okay. Cancers, here we go. So Mars is basically starting off the month in your second house, going opposite Pluto once again. That might not feel easy. Mars is in your second house of like your security, your like what you need to take care of in order to keep a solid, secure place or secure lifestyle in a way. It's going to be going back into your first house of Cancer, which will kind of maybe trigger certain personal things about you. So I would just say kind of be careful. I mean, Mars is going to be here in your first house for quite some time, or at least the first few months of the year, I should say. But yeah, it's going to be a little challenging in a way. Like I've been mentioning, for every sign, we're going to have to deal with stuff that we don't want to do. And we're kind of stuck in this for a little bit longer. So kind of just hang in there. I know this is not going to be a very comfortable transit for you guys, but we will get past this, and that's the good point. Mercury is basically ending its retrograde cycle at this point. It's been in your 6th house of Sagittarius, kind of going back and over like certain things to do with like physical health, your work routines, and like just something to do with like work or how you are providing service or how you have been providing service to others or even for yourself. So something to do with like health matters, like injuries, like how you are operating in your work environment, dealing with coworkers and stuff like that. Even if you are trying to sign leases at this point, or been thinking about maybe signing leases, maybe this is the point to actually be like, okay, now that I kind of went back over certain things, I can actually focus on, you know, doing this and that. So that's kind of a good thing. We're past all that though, so we are moving on from all of that. And then we get to Venus going into Pisces, which could be a little better. Like the energy for that will, like, I feel like will soften up all of this chaoticness that we are dealing with. And for you Cancers, like this is training your first house. This is more enjoyable for you, at least. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. She loves to be in this sign. So this is just bringing that, emphasizing like energy up a notch. So that's going to be cool. You know, I think most of you guys, or at least the water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, will enjoy that, because we have like all this like retrograde and like uncomfortableness and stuff going on like in the background. So enjoy that. And she's in your moving into your 9th house. Expand your horizons in a way. Like that's going to be what's enjoyable and what you want to value. Even if you are traveling somewhere, you might meet somebody that you're like, oh, this person's actually really cool. You know, you meet somebody and like you kind of vibe with them. You know, this could be somebody from like a different religion from you, a different culture, like something foreign. Will, like, you're going to be wanting that that desire for like that stuff. You're going to want to value like more foreign themes, you know, like foreign information. Like if you are learning anything with like higher education and stuff like that, it's going to be enjoyable. And I think that's going to be very, very fun for you guys. Okay, let's see what else is next. That's when, okay, this is when Mars goes back into your first house. So Mars is going back in your first house of Cancer. So yeah, like I mentioned, it's not going to be easy, guys. I mean, even if you remember like the themes that happened during September, October, November, like it's just bringing all that back up. And you know, it's like old situations are coming back to the surface, triggering something that maybe you don't really want to deal with. And it's going to have to just happen, you know, like I can't really tell you like what is going to happen, but I can at least give you some caution that there might be something. And it's in your first house. This is you. Like this is like literally something internally is like triggering yourself, and like you're not being able to emphasize this energy or drive that, you know, maybe you normally do. So just kind of take it easy. Like take it easy. Like Cancers are probably going through one of the worst I wouldn't say the worst transit, but going through a lot of stuff at this point. Maybe that's what I should say, instead of just like bringing more fear into this stuff. So, but it's okay, guys. We'll get through this. There's a lot of things going on in the first couple months of 2025. So just take it easy. Mercury goes into your 7th house. So Mercury leaving its sign of detriment in Sagittarius, moving into your 7th house of Capricorn. So you're going to be focusing on relationships, maybe connecting with other people or trying to connect with other people to either, build good connections or just try to just be more serious with other people. If you're focusing on like contracts and stuff like that, this could be a good time to really like, I guess, set those goals or whatever in order to receive those contracts or that support from other people. Commitments, open enemies are going to be up in the air, so you might have to deal with some uncomfortable open enemies. That's just kind of 7th house, but for the most part, you're trying to just at least balance out you and other people, and really the focus is on other people at that point. So try to take it easy when it comes to that, or just partnering up with people. That's really the whole point of the 7th house, is just really focusing on partnering up with people and working with other people. Okay, and then this is when the nodes shift into your 9th house and 3rd house. So talk about expanding your horizons and like going beyond like the normal thing and stuff like that. The North Node is it will push you, or at least guide you to like literally go beyond your normal, like go beyond the immediate environment that you are basically stuck in a way, maybe so to say. The North Node going into your 9th house is really gonna just give you that energy, that drive. Like, I have to like travel. I have to go beyond this normal thing. Like, I have to get away from the little like mundane everyday life, stuff like that. And I have to just go out there and learn. This is exploring. This is like literally exploring energy in a way. Like going out there and traveling, learning new information, just trying to see what's out there. What is God, like, go travel, like go have fun. This is in your Pisces. This is trining your 1st house of Cancer, guys. This could feel good for you guys, honestly. Like, go out there and like explore. Maybe you need all this stuff to like understand who you are, or just understand what's out there. That could be fun. I'm excited for you guys for that transit, honestly. Like, that's going to be cool. The South Node is in your 3rd house, though. So, like I said, the immediate environment, your, like, neighbors, short-term trips, siblings, relatives, communicating your social life, transportation, all that stuff. Stuff to do with, like, your immediate environment might feel a little draining at that point. That's why it's, like, the North Node is saying, hey, you have this option to really balance out these 2 areas of life for you. Very interesting, though. Excuse me. Then we get to the full moon in your sign of Cancer. So yes, this is emphasizing something to do with you. It's illuminating something. Sun's in your 7th house, focusing on other people, and then the moon, the vibe, is in your 1st house. So this is like trying to find some balance between you and other people, but the moon is on Mars, so it's just really kind of like triggering that Mars in Cancer retrograde energy. So it's not going to feel easy, but I think I keep repeating myself at this point. But at least at this point, it's showing you what you need to release when it comes to old baggage and stuff like that. That's what I would basically say. So yeah. Let that stuff go. That's all I would say. And then the sun will move into your 8th house, followed by Mercury and the new moon. So this is kind of like where we get to the end of the month. The sun going into your 11th house, not 11th house, 8th house, is just really just deepening any connections that you have with other people. This is really focusing on taking it to the next level when it comes to having intimate connections. Maybe focusing on shared resources and, maybe paying off debts, or just getting loans from other people to help you, or to help any partners, income, or just to, like, joint ventures or joint resources that can really help both parties out or whatever. But yeah, 8th house, like psychological connections, sex, inheritance, contributing, refinances, soul contracts, something like that, like chemistry and stuff like that. But yeah, this is kind of just what the vibe is going to be focusing on. So having Mercury here, you're just kind of wanting to keep, communicate in a way that's very deep. It's on Pluto, it'll pass over Pluto, which will feel very empowering and stuff like that. So, but yeah, and then the new moon's here. So it's just to refresh all this energy and stuff like that to do with your 8th house themes. And then Venus over here is entering shadow at this point. So this is when the Venus retrograde begins. So Venus is going to start, kind of moving slow at this point, going into Aries and stationing in Aries, and then going back into the sign of Pisces. So something to do with like your 9th house and 10th house is going to be kind of under review, long distance traveling and stuff like that, higher learning. And then the 10th house, public life, your career, your reputation, something that you maybe found enjoyable in the past is going to be shooken up, and you're going to try to find new things that are enjoyable at this point. That's kind of the whole Venus retrograde thing going on. And then Uranus stations direct in your 11th house, so shaking up things to do with like groups of people, doing outside of the box kind of vibes and stuff like that. That's kind of how it is. So yeah. Okay, so Leos. Leo, as we start the month, Mars is in your sign. It's going opposite Pluto. So this is kind of like a push, pull, or challenging aspect when it comes to you and other people. You're coming back to that old situation that maybe triggered you the first time. So yeah, this is just going back over that stuff. So really take it easy, especially for any Leo placements. Leo and Cancer will be going through it. Like, it's not a joke, honestly, and it's going to be tough for these guys. Mars will eventually go back into the sign of Cancer, which is going to be in your 12th house. So we'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, Mars starts off the month, going opposite Pluto. It's this again, like, it'll be all right though. Just take it easy, guys. Mercury is ending its retrograde cycle at this point. It's getting out of its post-shadow period. So everything that's been going on with 5th house themes, like performing, your self-creative side, your expressions, pleasures, like dating, inspirational stuff, desires, bucket list items, all that stuff has been kind of shifted your mind, and you're kind of moving past all that now. And now that you are, finally done with all that stuff. So yeah, we're moving on. So yeah. Okay. And then Venus goes into your 8th house. So Venus has been going through your 7th house for the most part, and then it gets into Pisces, which is she's exalted in. And it might feel a little enjoyable, at this point, in a way. Venus moving into your 8th house is just really what it wants to value is just deepening these connections for, that you have with other people. It wants to value more intimacy. It wants to value like psychological deep connections and wants that connection. It wants to blend into someone or something. It doesn't even have to represent a relationship or a person. This can be maybe like an object or just shared resources and trying to maybe earn more or use more, other resources in order to either pay off debt or just kind of blend your finances into something. Maybe working with other people's money. I don't know. Maybe that could be enjoyable for some people. But something to do with like inheritance, taxes. At this point we are in tax season at this point. So yeah, like dealing with other people's money, paying off debts, loans, all that stuff, sexual chemistry, refinancing and stuff like that. That's going to be the whole vibe for Venus going into your 8th house. So it could help. It could make these things enjoyable. So that's kind of what I could say. And then Mars goes back into your 12th house of Cancer. So I'm repeating myself, I think, Mars going back into the sign of Cancer, it's in the sign of fall. I feel like in the sign of your 12th house, though, is going to make it a little challenging, though, for you Leos, which I hate to say it, though, honestly, but I think it'll be okay. This is just going to, like, maybe trigger some, like, subconscious impulses in a way. I feel like that's what Mars in 12th house kind of vibe. Like, you're going to have like these impulses, but you're not gonna, it's gonna be internalized, and it's gonna be maybe hard to really feel all that stuff, because you're gonna like want to like, you know, step out of that and, you know, get away from that. But it's like, it's something that's really forcing you to look at in order to improve these impulses in a way, or just like this desire to like chase after stuff. And it's like, what this is like saying is like, focus on spiritual stuff, focus on healing your mental side, your subconscious side, even if it feels very over emotional or just very just triggering you. And it's not going to feel easy, guys, but we'll get past it. We will get past it, I promise you. Mercury's going into your 6th house of Capricorn, so just kind of shifts the vibe. You know, it gets out of its sign of a detriment, and it goes into the sign of Capricorn, which is, you know, operating a little bit better in a way. It's going to be focusing on like your daily routines, your work life, and how you are like providing service for others or yourself. This could be really focusing on like healing some type of illness or physical illness or injuries or something like that. You're going to be focusing on that. You could also be focusing on like wanting to sign new leases, trying to adjust to like more serious, I'm like doing the robot right here, serious like routines in a way that's like more serious because it's in Capricorn. So it's like really focusing on like responsibilities and what you need to do and stuff like that. So that's kind of Mercury in Capricorn. And then, wait, did we? Okay, yeah. And then the North Node and South Node switch into your 8th house and 2nd house. So the North Node going into your 8th house of Pisces, I feel like this could really, like really help any like your debts in a way. If you are struggling with money and stuff like that, like the South Node is going to be going through your personal finances, your financial house. So that might feel a little draining. You might have to hit rock bottom in order to, you know, use this North Node in the 8th house to really kind of help out. And that's kind of what I would think about, you know. Let's see, asking for like I would say like collaborating with other people's money to like kind of help, you know, you like your financial side in a way. Like this is going to be interesting because this is like focusing on like other people's money. It's focusing on like psychological connections, getting more intimate with these people, kind of paying off debts and stuff like that. So maybe this could be a little interesting for you. Like when it comes to, it's a very money house. It's talking about like money and like resources and stuff like that. So hopefully this can help any of you out if you were dealing with any struggles when it comes to money. Like I mentioned, the South Node is going to be through your 2nd house. So this is going to feel a little draining. It's not going to feel easy to like maybe earn or keep the security that you want. I don't know. But this is why the North Node is saying, here's an option that you can at least lean towards in order to balance out your personal finances. So that's kind of what I would say. Then we get to the full moon in Cancer. It's just illuminating and emphasizing this Mars retrograde. This is behind the scenes for you guys too. So even if you feel over emotional, like when it comes to like dreams, or it's like just trying to be impulsive, and it's kind of hard to be impulsive and you're emotional, and it's you're going to be all over the place and stuff like that. So, but just kind of take it easy. But this will be the point where we will be able to, you know, you will be able to release any like uncomfortable feelings and stuff like that when it comes to like this Mars retrograde in Cancer. So yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. We'll get past it, and eventually. Then the Sun will enter your 7th house, followed by Mercury and the new moon. So everything moving into your from your 6th to your 7th house is just focusing on other people. It is focusing on how you can manage to partner up with people and make, you know, I guess your life a little better. Maybe you have to support other people. Maybe other people need your support because of, you know, certain situations or certain circumstances or whatever. Maybe you are focusing on like certain contracts that you want to at least build with other people and stay very supportive and committed to that. That's something else I could say. Yeah, even if it's like something to do with like marriage and stuff like that, I don't know. Just really focusing on your partners or your partner or whatever it is that you're working, even if you are is in a business or it's just a one-on-one connection with you and a significant other. So yeah, might have to deal with some open enemies, maybe when it comes to certain people. That's another thing that we could say. Mercury, yeah, basically Mercury going into your 7th house is like you're really focusing on communicating to other people, or just like trying to have that support, you know. Maybe it's going over Pluto, so like all of these planets going over Pluto is just really empowering this like connection that you have with other people, or this partner that you, I don't know, something like that. It should help your partners though, like the way you are connecting with others. And then you have a new moon there as well. That's kind of how we end the month. It's just refreshing all of this energy, so it could feel nice, you know. But yeah, and then Venus over here is entering her pre-retrograde shadow period. So this is when the Venus retrograde begins. She'll come back to this spot eventually, but she's going to be going into Aries, your 9th house, and then going back into your 8th house. So something to do with like shared resources, like intimacy and transformation, and like just inheritance, and then something to do with like your 9th house themes, like exploring, shooting for the stars, like just going beyond that, the horizons, just traveling and stuff like that. So your values when it comes to both of these things will be shifting at this point. And then Uranus stations direct. That's like another, just emphasizing what's going on in your public life. So maybe try new things, new roles, and it could actually, you know, boost your out of the status quo or something like that. Okay, Virgos. Okay, so Virgos, so we're starting the month with Mars, you know, in your 12th house in Leo, going opposite Pluto and Aquarius in your 6th house. So, I mean, yeah, this is round 2. You know, this is round 2 of this opposition. It's not going to feel easy. Mars is in your 12th house, which is like behind the scenes, a place that's not very seen. It's a very hidden area of life for you. So even if you've been feeling a little impulsive and like trying to hold back these impulsives, it's just happening. Something is coming out, you know, and it's pulling you back. Something internal. This energy is internalizing this Mars retrograde. It's not giving you the push to go after. It is pulling you back. So you're going to come into some type of power struggles, you know, when it comes to like, I don't know, like even if it's like a daily routine or something to do with like physical, mundane, like health or something, routines or whatever. There's power struggles, you know, it's like maybe triggering something mentally, and it's just like you're taking it harder than it actually is. Than it should be in a way. But this is round 2, bringing it back. So Mars is going to go back into your 11th house, and that might feel a little better for you Virgos, but it's still going to be uncomfortable. And then Mercury ends its shadow at this point in your 4th house, so we're done with all that. You're done with all that. Something to do with like, you know, family members, or just like dealing with home-based matters, you know, shifting your mind. It's been going back and forth and all that stuff, but you can finally move on from this Mercury retrograde. Your ruler is in the sign of its detriment, and it's probably felt a little bit more challenging than you normally deal with. So, but once Mercury gets out of Sag and goes into Cap, you'll feel a little better in a way. And then we got Venus going into your 7th house. So that'll be pretty nice. I feel like this could really soften up and ease up any relationships that you have for the most part. Any contracts that you are desiring I feel like could help a little bit better. You'll be able to at least blend yourself into, you know, either certain people, for support, or just to kind of be around, you know. And I feel like that could be a really interesting time for you Virgos. And you have all this like Pisces stuff in here, like the Saturn's going through Pisces and Neptune's in Pisces. The North Node is about to enter your sign of 7th house of Pisces, so it's like this 7th house is going to get raised up a notch, like, and it's going to be like, whoa, this is what I need to focus on. Relationships, basically. So we'll get through all that. A lot of stuff going on. And then Mars goes back into Cancer at this point. So Mars is back in the sign of fall. It's in your 11th house, maybe going back over certain things to do with like, you know, communities based stuff, groups of people, working with groups of people, even if you don't want to like working with groups of people. it's just the vibe right now at this point. So, but this can at least help you improve working with other people, or really focusing on any opportunities that you might have missed during the first time that Mars transited your 11th house of Cancer and stuff like that. So just kind of think about it like that. Don't think of it as like, yeah, it's going to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to just say, oh, this is going to be a bad transit for you. No, but look at it through a different perspective this time. So even if you're dealing with friends and stuff like that, you might have confrontations or feel like something is off when it comes to friends, but maybe you need to improve it by having certain conversations or whatever, or doing things for other people. I don't know, something like that. Okay, and then Mercury goes into, so your ruler moves out of his sign of detriment, gets into a better position. It's in Capricorn. It's trining your first house of Virgo, so that can actually feel pretty good, a little easier at least. It's getting more serious, down to earth, grounded, you know, practical, stuff like that. You like that kind of stuff, Virgos. It's the earth sign. It's your ruler, actually. That's what's really important, is your ruler is moving into a better position than it has been over the last couple of months. So for like Virgos and Geminis, it's been tough, I bet. It's been tough, so it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, Mercury going into your 5th house is just focusing on like your self-creative, your self-expressions, your creative side, maybe focusing on children, something to do with like love, dating, desires, inspiration, bucket list stuff, just what's enjoyable, what's fun. So that's kind of what I would say. And then this is when the North Node, excuse me, the North Node is just into your 7th house, and the South Node is entering your 1st house. So yes, you will probably feel more drained at this point, but the North Node is trying to tell you maybe there's these relationships are your best way to your highest expression of like this lifetime or this storyline. So it's like you really need to pay attention to like all of this 7th house stuff right now. Excuse me, sorry. Venus is going to eventually go retrograde at this point. Oh my gosh, sorry. Too much talking. Venus is going to eventually go retrograde in this point of the chart for you. So it's like it's going to feel like you need to really focus on these relationships, partnering up with people, these contracts or whatever and stuff like that, and supporting other people and being committed to these people. A lot of stuff going on for you, Virgos, in the 7th house. It's just more 7th house themes for you. So, but yeah, the South Node moving into your 1st house, it could feel a little draining. Excuse me. Pardon me, guys. Anyways, next thing going on is the full moon happening in Cancer. So this is just on top of Mars, emphasizing this Mars retrograde cycle that's going on. What I've been talking about is like, this is the point where we will finally understand or see something coming to the light when it comes to like this Mars retrograde cycle or whatever, and we'll be able to at least release it for after this point, you know. So this is the point where it's like, this is the halfway point for Mars retrograde, and we are going towards the light at the end of the tunnel. We see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're like, okay, we need to keep going because there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's an answer. There's more to it, you know. We're almost done with it, so just take it easy. Having this in your 11th house is just focusing on groups of people, friendships, opportunities, giving you more like options and stuff like that when it comes to working or adjusting with other people, or working or collaborating with other people. That's what I would say. Okay, what is next? Everything is just moving into your 6th house of Aquarius. Okay, so everything's moving into your 6th house of Aquarius is just really focusing on your, you know, daily routines, the mundane work life that we have to basically do every day. You know, taking care of like services to other people or to yourself. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. I mean, this is kind of like the Virgo house anyways, so it has like a Virgo touch or layered to the 6th house because it kind of involves that stuff. So I mean, this could feel a little interesting, a little easy, you know what I mean? But just really focusing on like your work routines, maybe focusing on new leases, working with coworkers, trying to heal any physical or injuries that you are maybe dealing with, like health issues or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of like the whole thing. New moon, refreshing the energies and stuff like that. And Mercury is just, focusing on like communicating all of this stuff and whatever. So the important thing is, though, Venus is going into its shadow at this point. So Venus will eventually come back to this point, eventually, but she's going to start its retrograde cycle. Something to do with like your relationships or what you are desiring when it comes to partnering up with people is going to be shifted. It's going to move into your 8th house, get a little bit deeper and intimate with these people, but then it's going to like say, we got to change something about this. So yeah, it's basically relationships and like connections is going to be shifted for you Virgos. And then Uranus stations direct in your 9th house. Another layer of like getting outside the box of like traveling and stuff like that, or learning higher education, stuff like that. That's about it. A lot to talk about. Always a lot to talk about. Libras, you are next. Okay, so Libras, we start the month with Mars going opposite Pluto. Mars is in retrograde in Leo in your 11th house. It's going opposite Pluto. You're being triggered again by this like plutonic, energy, and it's not gonna feel easy. Like it hasn't been feeling easy. But then Mars will go back into your 10th house of Cancer, just to kind of like finalize all this Mars retrograde and Cancer stuff. So yeah, just kind of get used to it. We're almost done with it though at this point. Eventually we will get past it though. Mercury's ending its shadow at this point, so something to do with like your, the mundane, like immediate environment stuff, siblings, short trips, learning stuff, interacting, your transportation, rituals, all that stuff is finally done. You've changed your mind about a lot of things when it comes to that stuff. Venus is going into your sign, the 6th house of Pisces. So this is just, shifting the whole Venusian vibe. She's exalted in the sign of Pisces, which is really making it feel a little easier when it comes to like Venusian stuff. It's like the 6th house is all about the like health issues, your daily routines of like your workspace and stuff like that. So this is maybe just making the workspace a little bit more enjoyable, connecting with your coworkers and like kind of just, working together and just making things feel a little good. Venus is trying to blend these two, just blend into something that actually is enjoyable. So that's kind of what I would say. So yeah, your workspace might be a little better at this point, so enjoy that. Then Mars goes back into Cancer in your 10th house. So something to do with like your public life or your career is you're gonna have to try to improve something here. Even if you are maybe taking an authoritarian role, or you're just trying to be forced to maybe improve something in your public life that you want to be known for, like your reputation. You were trying to improve your reputation. That's kind of what I would say. But you might have to get outside of your comfort zone in order to make that real and make it a real thing. So, all right, and then Mercury goes into Capricorn. So Mercury gets out of detriment. It moves into your 4th house of Capricorn. So getting more serious. This is like your home life, your private space and stuff like that. So, maybe there's something going on in the home space at this point, maybe a little bit of drama, maybe not, but just kind of just focusing on your home space and just, I don't know, just kind of just, chilling out a little bit, maybe. You might have to focus on intuitive, feelings or intuitive messages that really, that's how you express your thoughts and ideas, like through your intuition. Maybe a little bit more emotional, sort of. It's in Capricorn, so it's more serious, more cold, more real. But it has that layer of emotionalness when it comes to the 4th house. So, yeah. And then this is the big one right here. The North Node and South Node are shifting signs. The North Node is going into your 6th house of Pisces. The South Node is going into your 12th house of Virgo for you Libra risings, I should say. So the North Node is like really putting your North Star towards like health issues, your workspace, like trying to improve like better ways of services if you are providing service for other people or service for yourself. that could be interesting for you guys. Like, you have all this stuff in your 6th house right now, and you know, Saturn's here, Neptune's here, and Venus as well. And now the North Node is going to be here for the next year and a half. So the way you are working, the way you are dealing with any health issues or something like that, or even if you signed a lease or whatever, there's something here that's really shifting you to improve whatever this area of life is, for your highest, like whatever's good for your life, your highest good, your highest self or whatever. So yeah, so routines, dealing with you know, health issues, dealing with pets in general, hygiene, fitness, maybe working out a little bit will improve your health in general. Like, this is literally a health house. Like, improve your health, and your health will be probably better than it has ever been, probably. The South Node going to your 12th house is really just maybe putting a little bit of a downer on certain things when it comes to like spirituality or your mental health or whatever, something like that. Even though you might feel like you have to, like, you know, take care of like your mental health in some ways, which is a priority, I feel like. But it's not only just that, it's just like isolation, dealing with like sicknesses, like addictions, all that stuff. It's like trying to get rid of all that stuff just so you can at least have a better improved, because the 6th house is about your physical body, and you need to have the right supplements in order to function right. So that's kind of what it is. That's the storyline for you guys. And then you have the full moon in Cancer, just emphasizing this Mars retrograde. You're going to have to, you know, we're going to see a lot more illumination at this point. We're going to have to at least release uncomfortable feelings when it comes to like how we are doing things or how we are trying to improve. And in this case, this is your 10th house, which is your public life, your most public self. And the Sun and Mercury are in your 4th house, which is like your home base, your property. So something to do with like your home work life is kind of being like, you're going to have to try to find some balance in a way. So kind of interesting. And I'm like looking at all this stuff. It's like trining all of this stuff in like the North Node and Neptune at this point. So that could help. That could also help out, you know, in a way. And then everything goes into your 5th house of Aquarius. So that actually could feel a little good for you, actually. It's trining your 1st house of Libra. The 5th house, like I've mentioned, it's about self-expressions, children, creativity, pleasures, sex, like sexual enjoyments and stuff like shit like that. Romance, drama, love, fertility, inspiration, bucket lists. All of this is going to be in the focus for you at this point. You have a new moon here to refresh all of this stuff. So even if you are trying to like focus on your entrepreneurship or like just doing things that are fun, or you know, if you're single and you're ready to mingle, this will be a great time to, you know, put yourself out there in a way. So it's kind of just connecting with other people in a way. So yeah, all these planets going over Pluto though is gonna make the energy feel very empowering. So that can at least raise it up a notch in a way. That could be fun. Let's see what else. And then I think that's basically it. Oh yeah, and then Venus is entering its shadow retrograde phase at this point. So something to do with like whatever you are enjoying when it comes to like your health in general, physical health, the way you are operating in your work life, dealing with coworkers and stuff like that, maybe something to do with like signing a lease, and then it's gonna be changed. You're gonna change the way you value that stuff, and then it's gonna go into your 7th house for a little, and then go back into Pisces. So something to do with like other people and like the way you are serving maybe others, because it's like the 6th and 7th house are kind of like, you need that 6th house of like serving other people in order to gain those connections in a way. That's kind of like a little keynote I've learned about. So yeah, something to do with like your 6th house and 7th house is being shifted in a way that you value, something like that. So, and then Uranus stations direct in your 8th house. So I don't know, maybe something to do with like intimacy, psychological connections, and shared resources is going to help you improve anything to do with all those topics and stuff. So yeah. All right, Scorpios, you're next. Okay, so we start the month of Scorpios for you. Your ruler, Mars, I've mentioned this for Aries too. So it's in Leo at this point. It's going opposite Pluto. So maybe all of this energy that you maybe have been presented as it entered your public life, your career, your 10th house. That's like the most public view in your chart. Maybe you have had like impulses of like, ooh, doing things in a bold way, but then it's like you didn't have the energy because Mars was slowing down in a way. We're coming back to that opposition with Pluto though, power struggles. Maybe this is like something to do with like your home life and your work life. It's coming into like a clash of butting heads. But yeah, Mars is coming back to that. It's kind of bringing up something that just happened recently, maybe some old situations, bringing up old triggers and stuff like that. So just kind of be careful when you're dealing with that stuff. Mars is going to go back into your sign of Cancer eventually, and then it's going to stay there for most of the retrograde. So let's see. So Mercury ends up basically getting out of its shadow period at this point. It's been in your second house of like your personal security, your finances, priorities, values, and stuff like that. So you've changed your mind maybe about a bunch of stuff when it comes to like how you are trying to secure yourself and have that security, but all that stuff. So you're done with all that. That's moving on. We're past all that stuff. The other thing is Venus is going into your 5th house of Pisces. So this could feel good because it's trining your 1st house. It's entering another water sign, and she's exalted in Pisces, as well as she likes to be in the 5th house as well. So this is like putting an extra layer on top of this Venusian in Pisces, like Venus in Pisces. Like it's like, she finds her joy in the 5th house. So that's going to be very, very enjoyable for you Scorpios, I would say. When it comes to relationships, valuing stuff, expressing love, what you find enjoyable. Like this is literally the fun house, and you're putting the fun planet for the most part in this house, and it's just, I don't know, it's gonna feel nice. It's gonna really, really feel nice for you Scorpios. I think take advantage, I would say, because there's a lot of uncomfortable stuff going on, especially your ruler Mars going opposite Pluto, going back into Cancer. Maybe that will feel a little better. As you see right here, he goes back into Cancer. It's in another water sign, so I would lean towards this could be a little better for you, even though it's gonna feel uncomfortable. Mars going back into your 9th house though is just kind of really like improving your direction or any short-term goals or your desire to chase after something. It's trying to improve anything that has to do with like traveling or like long distance, just exploring and expanding your horizons in a way. If you are like wanting to know, if you're dealing with any like legal matters, that could be something that could feel a little uncomfortable. If you are trying to improve any of that, something to do with the law. But like just really focusing on like higher education, like just foreign stuff and all that stuff. I mean, like all this water stuff could feel a little good for you, Scorpio. So I would lean towards that for at least this. So let's see. And then Mercury goes into Capricorn, which kind of adds more of the groundedness with all of this water and stuff like that. It'll kind of really hold together all of this energy in a way. I mean, yes, the sun is basically going opposite Mars, and then we'll have a full moon on Mars. I know it's a lot of stuff I'm talking about. But Mercury going into Capricorn, so it's in your 3rd house. It gets at a detriment. It gets a little bit more serious, more grounded, like I said, more practical. It's and it's in your 3rd house. I mean, so this is like really focusing on your immediate environment, your normal routine that your commune or whatever. You're maybe dealing with stuff in your neighborhood, or just, it's like local stuff. Maybe just connecting with like close friends or whatever once in a while, just trying to just bond a little bit better. But yeah, that's, like I said, it's kind of holding down all of this water that's going on in a way. So let's see. Okay, and then the North Node and South Node switch. So look at another like placement in a water sign for you. Like the North Node is going into Pisces, and that's a water sign. So it's like, look at all this stuff going on in your 5th house, as well as like, the water energy going like and being emphasized at this point. This is cool. This is cool, actually. like the North Node going to your 5th house is really pointing your direction of where you need to go in order to just embrace like all of this higher your higher self, like all of whatever it's trying to do and whatever it's trying to teach you. That is your North Star. So what is the 5th house? Like I just mentioned, self-expressions, something to do with children. Like your relationship to children might change at that point. Pleasures, dating, fertility, inspiration, bucket list, entrepreneurship, all of this stuff. You're going to be probably making more money than you probably ever thought you would ever make. In a way, in a sense of that. But dating is going to be a really prominent time at this point. So maybe you find your love interest at that point. You never know. It's a possibility. I'm not saying. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. But yeah, you have all this water energy going on here. It's just like in your 5th house, like your 5th house is really prominent this month. So I'm like, I can go on and on. So enjoy that. You're going to be a different person by the time this is done. The South Node going into your 11th house, though, is really just putting a little of a little bit of a downer on when it comes to like your like working with people, maybe just dealing with friendships, just groups of people and community-based stuff. Like you might want to stay comfortable in that stuff, but it's like it's not gonna really do you any good. You're gonna have to lean towards the North Node if you want any improvement. So it's like, yeah. So it's like 5th house is like the performer, and then the 11th house is like your audience or whatever. So lean towards that's kind of how the storyline's going on. Okay. Full moon in Cancer, basically, like I said, it's kind of building up this Mars retrograde. It's the halfway point. It's illuminating something to do with like the Mars retrograde, which is in your 9th house. So 9th house, traveling, foreign themes, like higher education and stuff like that, legal matters and stuff like that. But this is the time for releasing. We are releasing these old emotional baggages that are coming with this Mars retrograde in a way. So it'll get better. And then everything goes into your 4th house. Whoops. 4th house of Aquarius. So it's mainly focused on your private life at this point. Maybe just home-based matters in a way. So yeah. And then, yeah, all these planets, like going over Pluto, is just empowering this like intuitive vibe that you are basically probably need to focus on in a way. So it'll be cool. I mean, it'll be nice if you're just trying to just focus on your home life at this point. Just trying to just chill, whatever. Yeah. But Venus is going into its shadow. This is the Venus retrograde. This is when Venus begins its retrograde, because it's going to go back and forth over, their 5th house themes to do with like fun, pleasure, and stuff like that. Going into your 6th house of like your work, the way you serve others, something to do with the physical health. It's going to go back and forth, so pay attention to all that stuff. And then Uranus stations direct in your 7th house, so something to do with like relationships is going to improve when it comes to shaking things up, getting outside the box, and stuff like that. All right, Sag, here we go. I'm with you. Okay, so Sagittarius, I'm with you. I'm a Sag rising, I'm a Sag sun. I got a lot of Sag in my chart too, so I'm talking for myself too. So here we are. Sagittarius rising. So Mars is basically starting off the month in your 9th house, going opposite Pluto, going back to this triggering phase or whatever. Mars entering your sign of 9th house is really probably opened your perspective of like, oh, I want to go beyond, and explore and stuff like that. It's in our sign. Like, it's like being in Sagittarius in a way, because the Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So it's really like emphasize this fire, this desire, fire and desire. And that's what I'm like thinking of, like just going out there and stuff like that. But we had to slow down. Something came to a halt. It's like, we can't really move forward just yet. We're going to have to go back and improve certain things in order to we can go out there. Mars is going to eventually go back into your 8th house, and it'll basically stay there for most of the retrograde phase. But something's coming up, maybe old triggers, old situations, something like that. So we'll be all right. And then Mercury gets out of its shadow period. So Mercury's been in our sign, our 1st house. So maybe we've changed our perspective of how we improve, like how we present ourselves, how we impress others. Just it's been a different vibe going back over in certain things to do with like ourselves and like how we show up in the world, our approach to life, our perspective, like I mentioned. There's been like a new beginning kind of shifted in a way. So we're done with this at this point. So yeah, we can finally move on. We won't have any Mercury retrograde in our sign until I think the following year. But it won't be in our sign for the most part. But Venus is entering our 4th house of Pisces. She's exalted in Pisces. So this is kind of nice actually. Okay, so I say this every time Venus goes in the 4th house. Decorate your house. Like, put more Venusian themes in your house. Like, this is like a time to just really renovate your living situation. And it's gonna like create more beauty and stuff like in your property, in your private life and stuff like that. I say this every time that Venus goes to your 4th house or anybody's 4th house. It's like, renovate your property, renovate your home. Enjoy it. Make it enjoyable. Bring more Venusian in this place. But it's going to be nice, though, for the most part. So I like that. I'm excited about that. And then Mars, well, let's see. Which goes first? Mars goes back into Cancer at that point. And then Mercury goes into Capricorn. So Mars going back into our 8th house of Cancer. We're going to have to just improve certain things when it comes to, like, shared resources, debts, psychological connections, maybe joint ventures, working with other people, or if you have a partner, kind of like improving any ventures or like connections that you can both enjoy in order to, bring more protection and nurturing when it comes to that stuff. So yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's like, whatever, we got to get through it, and we will, guys. Mercury entering our 2nd house is really just focusing on like how we can focus on like bringing more security and being more realistic and mature when it comes to like earning, just like priorities and like possessions and stuff like that. So we're going to want to at least like focus on all that stuff in a way. So yeah. And then what else is going on? The big change is happening after this. It is right there. Okay. So the North Node and South Node are switching signs. So this is interesting for us too. This is a whole new storyline that we are entering. We're finishing the one that we just went through, the Aries North Node and South Node in Libra. Now the North Node is entering our 4th house of Pisces, and the South Node is entering our 10th house of Virgo. So this is a huge shift. This is our North Star shifting us into a new direction. So what I've learned and what I've been hearing about the North Node going into our 4th house is something can change in our property, in our home life. Something in our private life is going to be, shifted or at least pointed towards that direction. We could possibly move. I don't know if anybody's trying to move anytime, but maybe it's a possibility. Get a little bit more spiritual in our private life. I would maybe add that layer to that. So yeah, something to do with like our intuition, our like motherly figure in our own personal lives, parents, like something to do with like parents, home-based life, your roots, property. That's going to be the highest expression that we are being gifted or guided towards, in order to, go through this, this phase, this cycle. The South Node going into Virgo in our 10th house might feel a little draining when it comes to like just work, I guess, our career. Maybe we'll be, shifting a career at that point whenever, it passes through or whatever. I don't know. Something's going to change in our career life, or you could say our work-home life is going to be shifted in a way. So that's kind of exciting in a way. Then we get to the full moon in Cancer. Just emphasizing the Mars retrograde, it's illuminating and helping us to release old baggage in a way. So that's kind of the good part, at least, about it, even if it feels very emotional because Mars is in Cancer and we don't like Mars in Cancer. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's something to do with the emotional stuff. Is just really focusing on this and helping us to improve any situations. And then everything goes into our 3rd house of Aquarius, which we like. we like that. It makes a, you know, an opportunity sextile to our placement. It's just focusing on like our immediate environment, you know, siblings, short trips, relatives, just being social and with our people in our little neighborhood or immediate environment and stuff like that. So that could be fun, you know. All these planets going over Pluto will just empower this, you know, stage or whatever, this situation. I feel like Pluto in our third house is really giving us a voice, and it's just like we are understanding our power when it comes to like talking and communicating with that. And I've enjoyed that since Pluto's been here. So that's cool. And then that's about it. Let's see. Yeah, new moon, refreshing the energies and stuff like that, whatever. It's a new moon. What else? Venus. Yeah, that's right. Venus, this is beginning the Venus retrograde cycle at this point. She'll come back to this eventually, but she's starting in our 4th house. She will enter Aries, and then station retrograde and then go back into our 4th house eventually. So this back and forth thing with to do with like our property, our home life, and like 5th house themes like creativity, self-expressions, love, inspiration, bucket list, entrepreneurship. That's going to be shifted. You know, we're going to change our values in a way with that when it comes to that stuff. And then Uranus stations direct, not really a big deal, but I mean, something to do with like improving our work life, our situations to do with like services and stuff like that, health issues, something like that. All right. Capricorns, you are next. We're almost done with this, guys. Okay, we'll just start here. So, okay, for Capricorn risings, Mars, you know, is basically starting the month off in this opposition to Pluto. It's in these money houses. So, I mean, maybe he's dealing with something to do with like shared resources or debts or psychological connections. Has been kind of like a thing that you've wanted to like chase after and like go after and whatever, just do stuff like that. But it's coming into the opposition with Pluto when it's in your 2nd house. So maybe you might have some old triggers coming, you know, to do with like money stuff, like your money versus other people's money and stuff like that, or whatever resources. I don't know, something like that. Mars is going to eventually go back into your 7th house, and it's going to try to at least help you improve this whole Mars retrograde in a way. So even if it feels very uncomfortable, yeah, I mean, we got to get through it though, and we will get through it. So Mercury's ending its shadow period at this point. So in your 12th house, you've changed your mind maybe about, you know, when it comes to like spirituality, you've let go of maybe old addictions. You've like kind of focused on like healing your mental health and like something like that, maybe some sickness or whatever. I don't know, but we're done with all that. You can finally move on and it'll enter your 1st house very, very soon. But Venus, though, over here is entering your 3rd house of Pisces. This is a very important transit because Venus is going to eventually go retrograde later on in the, at least enter its shadow at the month, later on in this month. So Venus entering your 3rd house, enjoying you're like, it's bringing more ease and more enjoyment when it comes to like your immediate environment, connecting with close people, like close friends. Excuse me. Connected with siblings and relatives will be kind of nice, and like maybe taking short trips or just learning in general, communicating and sociable stuff or whatever. So yeah. Let's see. Then Mars goes back into Cancer. Mars is going back into your 7th house. So there's going to be some triggers, maybe some old wounds coming back when it comes to relationships. I would say maybe exes could possibly come back just to maybe, you know, see if they're worth your time or not, or do you have to cut these people out of your life? That's kind of what I would think about, you know, when having Mars going back in your 7th house. Or you could be maybe improving any contracts, any commitments, any support that you have for other people during this point. Yeah, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're going to have to use this energy to, or at least internalize this energy when it comes to focusing on like how you can either work with other people, like a partner or whatever, or just, I don't know, it can be a little difficult at times, but I think you'll be able to manage it in a way, even if it feels emotional or just annoying in a way, but we'll be all right though. Okay. Then Mercury enters your sign of Capricorn, so it gets out of its sign of detriment, enters your first house, and it's just like improving the way you present yourself through communication. You're going to be more, serious, more like responsible in a way that in your impressions and stuff like that. You're going to be focusing on initiating new ideas and starting new cycles off and stuff like that. That's kind of like the planets going through your first house of Capricorn, and you are a cardinal sign, which is about initiating something new. So something like that. The next big thing, the North Node is going into your third house of Pisces, and the South Node is going into your ninth house of Virgo. So this is a huge storyline being shifted, being started at this point. Your North Star basically is telling you to, is really focusing on your immediate environment. Maybe just like spending time with siblings, doing things around your neighborhood, interacting with people. Your social life might improve or in some way. The South Node in your ninth house might say don't travel as much, or don't go beyond too much, or don't like lean towards like politics or religious based stuff or foreign whatever. I mean, you can, but it's gonna feel a little draining. It's not gonna be what you need. What you need is saying something to do with your immediate environment is telling you to like focus on this point for your highest good in a way. So yeah. Then we get to the full moon in Cancer, which is basically emphasizing the, it's illuminating something in your relationship sector, and it's illuminating something to do with this Mars retrograde. It's going to help us improve and understand what we need to let go of and purge from this point on. So if you have to let go of some relationship or contract, maybe it's a good thing, because Mars is going through it's retrograding in your 7th house. So it's like I said, cut that person out, or cut the contract out. No more. You need to improve something to do with like contracts, supporting other people, or just relationships in general. And then everything goes into your 2nd house of Aquarius, which is just really focusing on just like your security, your personal security in a way. So you're having a new moon here to refresh all this stuff, just to get your intentions a little bit better when it comes to like priorities, how you need to support yourself, what you are valuing, like these possessions and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I would say about that. Going over Pluto is just empowering this energy, so it might feel good to, earn more money or do more things in order to earn more priorities, or not really priorities, but like possessions and money and stuff like that. And then Venus is starting its retrograde cycle, at least at this point. So we'll come back to this point eventually in the next couple months, but something to do with like your immediate environment, your social life, and something to do with like your home life, because that's kind of like the two signs that she's going to be swaying back and forth in. So kind of pay attention of what's being changed in those two areas of life. And then that's about it. I mean, Uranus goes direct in your 5th house. Not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, you're improving something to do with like your creative side, self-expressions, entrepreneurship, fertility, inspiration, something like that. So that's about it. Okay, Aquarius. So we start the month with Mars going opposite Pluto from your 7th house to your 1st house. We're back at this point again. This is round 2. So you might have to deal with some triggers when it comes to like relationships and how you are presenting your, I guess, personal power. Because Pluto's in your sign, your 1st house at this point. It's not in Capricorn anymore. Like this is like Pluto trying to really empower your personal self, your body. It's a new beginning for you, Aquarius. Having Mars come across the board in a challenging angle to you, to this Pluto at least, is just really it might bring up some confrontations that you don't want to deal with. And it might feel uncomfortable. You might not have the urge to do this. Or this could be other people coming to you, trying to poke your side or whatever, just to maybe trigger you in some way. So just kind of watch out for that stuff. I mean, Mars will eventually go back into Cancer, which will feel a little annoying in a way, but I've been saying that for this whole video, basically, so it's all good. Venus, though, is going into your 2nd house. That's going to be more enjoyable than this whole thing going on here. Take advantage of that. Venus going through your 2nd house, I would say, is like really like you're going to want to attract more possessions, values, money in a way. It might improve any of these topics or whatever. Just how you are supporting yourself, how you are bringing security to what you need in order to just live comfortably in a way. You're going to want to blend into something in order to, reach or gain that potential that you desire for when it comes to like owning stuff. So very interesting. Mercury's ending its shadow at this point in your 11th house. So yeah, you're done changing your mind about whatever it is to do with like friendships, communities based stuff, working with groups of people, like your colleagues or whatever, or just opportunities in general. Like you've changed your mind about things, you're moving on at this point. Okay. Then Mars goes back in Cancer. So this is going back into your 6th house. On one positive note, I would say before I talk about Mars and Cancer, is Mars likes to be in the 6th house. It finds its joy in the 6th house. But that's the only positive side. In a way. Mars going back into your 6th house is just trying to improve any physical like routines. Maybe if you are trying to like work out or trying to build up your figure, your body, your physical health, that can be another positive thing I can mention about Mars going back in your 6th house. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Mars in Cancer, it's in its fall. But what it's like really focusing on, I would say, is just like this 6th house. How can you improve the way you serve others? How can you improve the way you serve yourself? Something like that, routines, coworkers, supplements, hygiene, illnesses and stuff like that. Like that's going to be the whole thing for this Mars retrograde cycle for you guys. So take it easy if you have to. Mercury goes into your 12th house of Capricorn at that point. Getting out of detriment. It's kind of operating a little bit better. It's in your 12th house. It's behind the scenes. It's a very hidden place. Not really, expressing what you want to, but you're really kind of focusing on like being more realistic, more serious in a way, more mature, but just kind of focusing on like mental health stuff, maybe if you are, or maybe like dreams and stuff like that. Maybe just kind of isolate yourself in order to really, heal your mental side in a way. That's kind of what I would say, which could be good in a way. Or just, follow like spiritual guidance or something like that. That's kind of another thing that I could say. And then the big thing happens of the North Node going into your 2nd house and the South Node going into your 8th house. So the North Node is really pushing you towards this like personal security for the next year and a half. So your security will probably improve like no other in a way. You might have to deal with some uncomfortable, draining stuff to do with like shared resources. If you're trying to pay off some debt or whatever, yeah, you might have to do that. But at least this 2nd house is going to improve and like raise the notch a bit. And when it comes to like your just what you value and what you like are trying to support yourself into. So a lot of things happening in your 2nd house at this point. And then we get to the full moon in Cancer, which is just emphasizing this Mars retrograde, like I've been saying. You might have to release some old baggage, like that's kind of a full moon. It's coming to, the fullest. It's illuminating something, and then it's going to start to release. So purge, something to do with like 6th house or whatever. The way you serve, the way your work environment is, might be a little chaotic, but it might be a good time to improve and understand where you're going towards at this point. So, yeah. And then everything goes into your 1st house, which should feel a little better at this point. So, everything's in your 1st house of Aquarius. So, new beginnings are happening, new cycles. This is improving just, something that, a new cycle for you, a new beginning. It's going to feel good. You're going to, want to like express yourself. This is your season. Happy birthday to all you guys. At this point, if you are celebrating in January or February, but yeah, your personality is just like, it's being emphasized at this point. It's being empowered as these planets go over Pluto and stuff like that. So it's really just putting you on the spotlight at this point. Mercury's in the sign. You are expressing more uniqueness and stuff like that. You have a new moon here at this point, so it's refreshing something about you. Venus is going into its shadow period at this point. So she'll be back at this point, but something to do with like your values will be changing, and then something to do a little bit when it comes to like your immediate social life, environment, stuff like that. These two houses are going to be changed in the way you value stuff. So, and that's kind of how the month ends. Uranus basically stations direct in your 4th house. So whatever it is to like going outside the box when it comes to using your intuition. What else can I say? Just something to do with like family and home life is just being, shooken up in a way, but it's a good way because your Uranus has gone back. Now it's time to go forward at this point. Okay. Last but not least, Pisces. Here we go, girl. I don't know why I said girl. Oh no. I went all the way back. I am all over the place right now. This is, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is awkward. Sorry, guys. I need to go by the hours. That's what I needed to do. Okay. Ugh. Man, what am I doing right now? It's been a long video. Okay, here we go. Pisces rising, here we go. Okay, so Mars is stationing, well, Mars is actually beginning the month going opposite Pluto once again. So we are back at that triggering point, round 2. There will be a round 3 though, too. So just get ready though. But that'll be for another couple months. So whatever has been going on, like your 6th house of like, the way you serve, the way your work life and stuff like that, that's kind of just bringing more of this, emphasize of Mars going back in your 6th house. Mars likes to be in the 6th house though, but it's going back in your 5th house. So yeah, going opposite Pluto in the 12th, it's kind of like this physical, mental battle in a way. It's like you're trying, like what is the thing? I can't think of it at the moment, but it's like, yeah, mental and physical health or whatever. You might have to heal some type of something to do with your mental side and your physical health. So yeah. After that, Venus goes into your 1st house. Love that for you guys. This is really going to beautify your personality, and you probably will enjoy this. Like I've said, I'm happy for you guys to have this, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. She loves to be in this sign, and it's like going into your 1st house. Oh man, you are going to be the spotlight for the most part, for this month. And eventually she'll go back into, she'll eventually start her retrograde cycle, but yeah, that's a cool thing happening right there. Mercury is ending its retrograde at that point, so you're done changing your mind and dealing with delays when it comes to your career life, your public life, your reputation and stuff like that. So you're far from done. You're moving on from all that stuff, even if there's been like some career roles change and stuff like that in your public life, whatever. Okay, then Mars gets back into Cancer. So Mars going back into Cancer, it's going to be staying here for the next couple months at least. Yes, you're going to have to improve certain things when it comes to like your self-expressions, how you are basically expressing your passions and stuff like that, what you desire, your bucket list items, entrepreneurship, inspiration, stuff like that, the fun house. So, but might not feel as fun because Mars, the planet of action and drive, is going internalized, it's being pulled back. So you might have to improve certain things when it comes to your self-expressions, dating in general, maybe, I don't know. Let's see what else is going on. And then Mercury goes into Cap, 11th house. So yeah, Mercury going into your 11th house is just really focusing on like how you can basically earn the fruits of your labor that you have been maybe going back and forth over when it comes to your career, whatever role you're playing in the public life and stuff like that. You might get some, rewards at this point in time. Another thing, you might be focusing on communicating with groups of people, friendships and stuff like that. Really connecting with other people, or just trying to find new opportunities for you to improve, I guess, whatever situation you are dealing with. So that's cool. That is really cool. And then you have the North Node going into your sign, Pisces. You are going to be the spotlight literally over the next year and a half for this North Node going into your sign. And the South Node is going into Virgo, which is opposite your sign, which rules relationships, contracts, supporting other people, open enemies, clients, any of that stuff. So that might feel a little draining, but you might have to deal with that kind of stuff in order to heal and go towards this North Node, which is going to emphasize who you are, what you are meant to be in this lifetime, what you are meant to do, and that's be yourself. You have all of this Pisces energy happening, like all these planets and points are in Pisces at this point. So this is a really, really huge time for Pisces, and I would say for Virgos as well, but Pisces, this is where things start. Like this, you are going to be able to express yourself very like spiritually and just like to the highest level that you could possibly are. I mean, and you're gonna probably be a different person by the time by the end of this transit too. So like, embrace it as much as you can. And then everything goes into your 12th house of Aquarius. And then basically, yeah, you know, that's kind of how we end the month in a way. So all this internals, like isolation, stuff like that is just kind of happening towards the end of the month. So yeah, it's a refreshing, you know, we're about to enter your season very soon by next month, and you might get a little bit more of a boost, you know, when it comes to this stuff. Venus, though, is entering its shadow at this point. So this is when the Venus retrograde begins. She'll be coming back to this point and eventually in the next couple months. But something to do with like your personality. You're changing the way you want to value yourself. And something to do with like your finances and your personal security will be changed at that point. So yeah, kind of just, you know, just see what happens. You know, what do you want for yourself? What do you want to, you know, be just known by, you know, your personality. And then Uranus stations direct in your 3rd house. So something to do with like, you know, innovation, uniqueness when it comes to your immediate environment, just kind of stepping outside that box and stuff like that. It's kind of like, it's not the biggest deal in the world though. But yeah, that's January, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It was fun to talk about it. It was fun to finally do another video after like how long? I think it's been about a month since I've done another video because we've been dealing with the holiday season and stuff like that. I've been super busy lately, so it's nice to at least have some time to do this in order to, you know, move on and jump to the next goal that I have in mind. So yeah, so this video should be out by the end of December. It should be out definitely in January. I will be releasing the 2025 horoscopes. Well, not really horoscopes, but just the forecasts for 2025 will be out, as well as this video too. So yeah, I think that's about it I can say. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Kind of a big month, a lot to talk about, honestly. Huge things happening in January and from now on until the end of the 2025 is going to be a huge year, guys. Like once you see this video, this is like the beginning. And then once I'm back to do February, that's going to be an even better month because everything's going to start to move forward in a way. So yeah, so take it easy this month. Don't really beat yourself up if things don't go your way. We are dealing with this, but once we get to like April and May, guys, especially May of 2025, we'll be in a better state. We'll be in a better situation than we are in this position, this present moment at this point. So just hang on. Follow me on Patreon to get this early. Follow me on YouTube and follow me on Spotify. Do all that cool stuff. Yeah, your boy would appreciate it. So I think that's about it. So thank you very much for enjoying the video. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.